Chapter 44-33. It's good to be friends as equals. If they were on the same level, then he and the 108 generations of the primordial porcupine would be brothers. At that time when that old fellow came to this world and saw this scene, just thinking about his expression made Yixian feel that everything was worth it. Although one blood essence was enough, he wouldn't even exchange it for 10. From the looks of it, not only could this old thing not be killed, he had to be protected like a rare species. After all, there were titled monarchs everywhere. Killing them was the same as killing them. However, the 108 generations of primordial porcupine's ancestors, and the 108 generations of primordial porcupine's ancestors who called him brother, was the only one. Brother Pig, don't worry. From now on we'll be family. Whoever dares to touch you will have to go against this sovereign. Thinking of this, Yixian immediately patted his chest and directly called him Brother Pig. Halfway through his sentence, he paused for a moment before continuing. You're right, this sovereign is indeed sworn brothers with an ancient porcupine. However, since you've already said so, you're right, this sovereign is indeed sworn brothers with an ancient porcupine. Let's do as you say. In the future I will be brothers with him and I will also be brothers with you. When it heard this, the starry sky porcupine instantly confirmed its guess. Its heart relaxed, and the smile on its face became even more brilliant. Mimicking Yixian, he patted his chest and said, Since we are family, then there is no need to be so courteous. This greedy wolf forbidden zone is no good now, so this pig has decided to follow you. But before I leave I have some good stuff. We can't let him go. It seemed like this guy was also a two-faced person. In the blink of an eye, he had betrayed them. Not only did he want to leave with Yixian, but before he left, he clearly planned to take Yixian and loot the voracious wolf forbidden zone. Based on his understanding of the voracious wolf forbidden zone, with him leading the way and Yixian working together, it was likely that any good item in the voracious wolf forbidden zone would be swept clean. This was definitely a sign of looting, but Yixian didn't care. In fact, he welcomed it. Immediately, the two of them who called each other brothers gathered together and whispered in each other's ears as they discussed how to deal with the treasures in the voracious wolf forbidden area. After a short while, the two of them reached a consensus and drafted a preliminary plundering plan. Then they began to take action. Under the guidance of the starry sky porcupine, the two of them directly rushed to the nests of the subblood greedy wolves and found the treasury of the subblood greedy wolves. Although there was a restriction array, it was useless against Yixian. He directly broke it open and looted everything. After that, it was the nest of the demonic void tiger that had already fallen. Finally, it was the nest of the other undying emperors. After spending 2 days, the primordial porcupine brought Yixian and looted all the good things in the greedy wolf forbidden area. On the way, they even killed more than a dozen undying emperors that were hibernating within the ferocious beast star. The ferocious beasts of the voracious wolf forbidden zone saw this. Gradually, the ferocious beasts of the forbidden zones all turned their hatred to the primordial porcupine. Very few of them still hated Yixian. On one hand, they couldn't bear to hate such a powerful fifth-stage knight. On the other hand, compared to Yixian who came to invade, the primordial porcupine who turned around and killed his own people was more shameless. However, the latter didn't have the slightest self-awareness. After bringing Yixian to loot the entire voracious wolf forbidden zone, he turned around and waved his hand with a smile on his face. Then he left with Yixian in an instant. 7 days later, the subblood greedy wolf returned. Looking at the dilapidated and lifeless voracious wolf forbidden zone, he almost suspected that he had come to the wrong place. A woo! An extremely shrill and long wolf howl resounded in the void for a long time. At this time, Yixian had already left the voracious wolf star zone with the primordial porcupine and was hundreds of billions of kilometers away. He didn't directly return to the source nest base camp. After all, the primordial porcupine's reliability still needed to be tested. Anyway, Yixian had nothing to do when he returned, so he took him to wander around the boundless primordial void and stopped at a random abandoned star. He stopped. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion. You stay outside and protect me or something. Yixian glanced at the primordial porcupine and didn't say much to him. He turned around and entered the core of the star, waving his hand to summon the Shenong cauldron. Then with a leap, he went directly to the mouth of the Shenong cauldron, which was enshrouded in 9-colored fog. and sat down cross-legged. Then a cold light flashed in his eyes. With a wave of his hand, a large number of faint sounds of breaking through the air rang out. What he summoned with a wave of his hand were clearly all kinds of top-grade cultivation resources, including the Peak 8-colored divine medicine, the all-evil source liquid, and other rare top-grade precious materials and medicines. At the same time, there was also a large piece of quasi-desolation almighty primordial life. The spirit's precious blood and flesh were roasted into a golden color by the Shinong 8-colored flame. He was clearly planning to cultivate in seclusion immediately and try to break through. It was because Yixian had gone through so many battles before that he had completely refined the true essence in his body from the last breakthrough. There were faint signs of a breakthrough, so he struck while the iron was hot. Soon, the power of the Shinong cauldron in his body was fully activated. All the cultivation resources in front of him were crushed by the power of the cauldron's field. In the blink of an eye, they turned into small round beads and were swallowed into his stomach. Then they turned into a warm current that flowed down his throat and rushed to the limbs and bones of his physical body. Walala! Boom! The moment the warm current spread, the sound of chains rattling could be heard. From this moment on, Yixian's body seemed to be turned upside down. The loud rattling sound of chains did not stop for even a second. The scorching energy that had just formed flowed along the meridians of his body, constantly shaking the new shackles that had appeared. He had completely forgotten the existence of time. He focused his mind and concentrated on following the ancient cave void tactics. His divine sense carried the surging and majestic river of energy in his body as it circulated through his meridians, and began to circulate the great heavenly cycle again and again. After an unknown amount of time, when the energy river was completely refined and disappeared into Yixian's meridians, the true essence in his body was clearly stronger than before. Without any hesitation, Yixian immediately pushed his divine sense to the extreme and immediately launched a new round of attacks. Clang! A loud sound of metal colliding rang out, and the shackles that had appeared in his body broke. Almost in the next instant, the familiar sound of the system notification rang out in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to host for breaking through the Dongshu Ancient Incantation. Current realm. 6th Order Emperor Realm. Ding! Congratulations to host for breaking through the Dongshu Ancient Incantation. Current realm. 6th Order Emperor Realm. 6th Order Emperor Realm. Chapter 4434. 6th level titled Emperor? If that's the case, the moment I unleash the 8th form of the 9 demonic ape transformations bloodline ability, my combat power will instantly soar to 6th level Universe Knight. Opening his eyes, Yixian's eyes gleamed as he subconsciously clenched his fists. Just one more step and I'll be able to step into the late-stage Universe Knight realm. And if I include the 6 million miles huge body under the 8th form, I can even fight against a true late-stage Universe Knight. I can even guarantee that I won't be defeated by an 8th level Universe Knight. As long as I don't meet a 9th level Universe Knight, I'll be invincible. Fear. I'm already at the 6th level now. After 3 more breakthroughs, I'll need a level 25 treasure pill. Luckily, I've gathered all the materials so I can start refining at any time. Since that's the case, it's better to be early. Now, I'll start refining. After saying that, Yixian didn't hesitate anymore. With a wave of his hand, all the materials and resources required for the level 25 treasure pill recipe were taken out by him. Xiao. Xiao xiao xiao. These secondary sources all shot out and floated in front of Yixian. Among them, there were 9 pieces of titled Emperor Blood Essence and various top-notch resources. This time he was more than 80% confident that he could refine 4 level 25 treasured pills at once. Even the probability of 5 treasured pills appearing was more than 70%. As for 6, the probability was much lower, only about 50%. Out of caution, Yixian analyzed the level 25 treasure pill recipe that he had already deduced and gone through it twice. After confirming that there were no mistakes, he waved his hand and prepared all the resources and top-notch materials required for the recipe. Then he closed his eyes. Inside the Shenong cauldron, the plains at the bottom of the central region volcano. Xiao xiao xiao. The faint sound of something breaking through the air rang out continuously. Rays of light shot out from the mouth of the cauldron above the central region volcano. They appeared directly above the fiery pond at the bottom of the volcano and suddenly stopped. They were all the top-grade materials and cultivation resources that Yi Xian had prepared for the refinement of the Grade 25 Supreme Pill. Who? In the next moment, below all the resources, in the pool of flames at the bottom of the volcano in the central region, a majestic Shenong 8-colored flame whistled up. In an instant, it condensed into an 8-colored cauldron that was about 3 meters in radius. It was small and simple, and it emitted an extraordinary aura. As this small cauldron made of pure Shenong 8-colored flames took shape, the blood essence and other materials that had been prepared beforehand all flew up automatically and entered this small cauldron of flames that was only a few feet wide. Just one level 25 pill was enough to make a level 9 Pinnacle Immortal Emperor become a level 9 Pinnacle Immortal Emperor in an instant. Such a resource was absolutely precious to the various races and top powers in the 3 main space planes. It was an existence that no one dared to even think about. Just a level 20 elixir that could make an undying old monster and a level 23 elixir that could make an undying emperor was enough to make them go crazy, not to mention a level 25 supreme pill that could make an undying emperor. Among the top-grade materials prepared for the refinement of the level 25 supreme pill, just the blood essence of the 9 undying fierce beasts was something that was extremely difficult to obtain in the 3 main space planes. Hence, Yi Xian was especially solemn this time. Concentrating, he carefully controlled everything. He made a series of alchemy seals in his hand, turning them into mysterious runes that floated from the mouth of the Shenong cauldron and fell into the energy cauldron at the bottom of the volcano in the central domain. Time passed slowly and 3 days passed unknowingly. Hong! Suddenly, above the fiery pond at the bottom of the central region volcano, a huge roar resounded. The cauldron made of pure Shenong 8-colored flames instantly dispersed. A river-like 8-colored flame whizzed back to the fiery pond below. What was left above the pond were 6 infant fist-sized round beads. Although they were the same size as the vicious beast blood essence from before, they were completely different. The blood essence was blood-red in color and exuded a dense blood chi energy. As for these 6 beads, although they were also the size of nascent soul fists, they shone with 8 colors. On the surface there was a dreamy halo that gave off an ancient and heavy aura. This was a level 25 supreme pill. Just one of them was enough to allow an Emperor level 9 pinnacle undying to break through and become a universe knight. It was a level 25 treasure that could allow an Emperor level 9 pinnacle undying to break through and become a universe knight. There are actually 6 of them? As the pills were being refined, Yi Xian's voice came from the mouth of the Shenong cauldron above the central region volcano, revealing a strong sense of surprise. According to his previous calculations, the probability of 6 level 25 pills being refined was only 50%. He didn't expect his luck to be so good that he actually encountered it. Xiao! With a flash of his body, Yi Xian shot out of the mouth of the Shenong cauldron, which was shrouded in 9-colored fog. He waved his hand and put the cauldron into his body. As for the 6 level 25 pills that had just been successfully refined, they were all stored in jade bottles and stored properly. With the successful refinement of the level 25 supreme pill, Yi Xian instantly felt the pressure in his heart lighten. However, as soon as he thought about the level 26 pill, he immediately felt a headache coming on. A level 26 supreme pill could allow an undying emperor to break through to the universe master level instantly after swallowing it. Although Yi Xian was still 3 small stages away from breaking through to the universe sovereign realm, after breaking through to the universe sovereign realm, there were a total of 9 small stages. In this way, after breaking through to the universe sovereign realm, he would need to use a level 26 treasure. Dan. If it had been someone else, breaking through 12 levels might not have been urgent at all. It would have taken a long time. However, to Yi Xian, this was indeed a very difficult matter to predict. If he broke through 2 levels consecutively a few more times, the need for a level 26 pill would instantly become urgent. Hence, while there was still plenty of time, he had to make early plans. Otherwise, when the fire was burning his eyebrows and he was anxious, he might not be able to make it in time. However, in reality, even now, being anxious was not something that could be done. He still didn't have the perfect formula for a level 26 pill. The devouring system in his body was doing its best to deduce it. Other than the formula, The most important raw material for refining a level 26 pill was the blood essence of a knight. This was a resource that could only be obtained by killing a universe knight. Right now, although Yi Xian already had a piece of blood essence of a knight, in reality, even this piece of blood essence of a knight was obtained by accident. It could be said that it was the result of a stroke of luck. Even with this piece of blood essence, he still needed 4 more. Just this matter alone was enough to give him a headache. Chapter 44-35. Brother Violent Ape, why are you so depressed? The moment he rushed out of the core of the abandoned star, he saw Space Porcupine. He was all smiles with a big belly and acted like a big brother. He patted Yi Xian on the shoulder and said, "If you have any problems, tell me, and I promise to help you solve them." Hearing this, it was as if no one dared to call themselves the boss in this primordial void. This character was simply carved from the same mold as the primordial porcupine, and it was even more severe. Yi Xian was drunk from the sight of it and rolled his eyes. At this moment, Yi Xian's body had already shrunk to a height of 30 meters. In other words, he had activated the Devil Ape bloodline within his body, but he hadn't activated the Devil Ape 9 transformations bloodline ability. In this state, his cultivation base was at the 7th level of the Emperor Immortal Realm. At the same time, the Starry Sky Porcupine had shrunk in size. Like Yi Xian, it was 30 meters tall. However, its cultivation didn't change. It was still at the 6th order of the Immortal Emperor Realm. It was slightly weaker than Yi Xian. Go away. You speak as if you are invincible. Rolling his eyes, Yi Xian continued in annoyance. If this sovereign wants to kill a universe knight, do you have a way? See, universe knights. The Starry Sky Porcupine was shocked and gasped. Then it fell into deep thought. After a while he said, "Brother Violent Ape, your behavior is a bit strange. Before, you were targeting Emperor-level Undyings, and now you want to kill universe knights. Don't tell me you are doing this just for the thrill. Old pig, I guess you have a special purpose. Why? Do you have any benefits? If there are benefits, I can't take them all for myself. Although Old Pig didn't contribute previously, it's hard to say what will happen later. Even if you are killing universe knights, Old Pig may not be able to help, but I can give you advice and guide you to your target. That won't be a problem. Yes, I am very familiar with all the forbidden areas around the Milky Way star field." What he said made sense. Yi Xian didn't know what to say. Although he had hunted a forbidden land beast and searched its soul before, so he knew a little about the most powerful forbidden lands around the Milky Way star field, but it was only a few nearby. After all, the forbidden land beast he searched was very strong. It was limited. However, the space porcupine was different. He was a level 6 titled Immortal Realm existence, and he had been following a 5-star knight for a long time. Under his influence, he had a certain understanding of all the forbidden areas around the Milky Way star area. Obviously, it was a done deal. With such a know-it-all, it would be much more convenient for Yi Xian to carry out his subsequent actions. Perhaps this old pig spirit really had a way to guide him to his target, so he could hunt down the universe knights one by one. Who knew? As these thoughts flashed through his mind, Yi Xian was tempted. However, if Huang Xiaolong wanted this old pig spirit to work for him without any worries, it was impossible to do so without some enticement. After all, this old pig spirit was already a 6th-order emperor. He wouldn't be interested in ordinary things. What's more, the rewards from this trip to the voracious wolf forbidden land were divided 30-70 with Yi Xian. Yi Xian got 70% and the old pig got 30%. It could be said that he had obtained a lot of top-level cultivation resources from this trip. Hence, if he wanted to tempt him and make him anxious like a monkey, Yi Xian had to be ruthless. He had to take out something that he definitely needed, but he definitely didn't have, and he definitely couldn't get it. Without a doubt, there was only one choice, and that was level 25 night level pills. Anyway, he had a total of 6 pills. If he gave him one, he would have 5 more. Besides, he could make more in the future, so there was nothing to feel bad about. Thinking of this, Yi Xian was immediately certain. The corner of his mouth curled into an extremely playful and mysterious smile. He tilted his head and glanced at the Starry Sky Porcupine, then said in a strange tone, "Yo, you're even putting on airs? It's a pity that I've never been threatened by anyone. Forget it. Anyway, I've just refined the level 25 night treasure pill. And I'm not in a hurry to refine the level 26 treasure pill that's used to break through to become a universe master. If I encounter them in the future, I'll just hunt them slowly. Isn't it just 5 night level blood essences and 1 level 26 night level pill? I already have one now. I only need 4 more. It's not a lot. Xiao. After saying that, Yi Xian flipped his hand, and an exquisite jade bottle appeared in his palm. After uncorking the bottle, he poured out the level 25 night level pill that he had made previously. It emitted a strong aura of a night. See? This pill is obviously freshly made. It's extremely fresh, and what a strong aura of a night. On the side, the space porcupine stared blankly as he took in a cold breath. His expression changed as he exclaimed, "Brother Violent Ape, you were hunting emperors before to collect the blood essence to make this level 25 night pill? Night level pill? Can it really help an emperor level being breakthrough to the universe night level?" Of course. Yi Xian rolled his eyes and changed the topic. The space porcupine's face was filled with disappointment. He changed the topic and said, "Normal emperors won't have any after swallowing it. However, after a level 9 emperor swallows it, he will break through to the next level within 3 days. Within that time I will definitely break through to universe night. Damn! This is an immortal pill, a godly pill." Hearing the latter half of the sentence, the fat on the space porcupine's face trembled. His hands trembled. From the looks of it, he was about to attack Yi Xian and snatch the pill. He probably knew he couldn't beat Yi Xian at the crucial moment. Otherwise, he might not have been able to suppress this impulse. Taking a deep breath, he asked again, "Brother Raging Ape, you killed quite a few emperors in the Greedy Wolf Starfield. This time, how many level 25 night level pills did you make?" 3. However, you don't have to think about it. Although I don't have any use for these things, they are all for my friends. Speaking to this point, Yi Xian waved his hand and turned to leave. "Alright, go wherever you want. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. I still have to think of a way to kill Universe Knights and collect their blood essences to make the second level pill that will help me break through to the Universe Master level. As for the level 16 pill, damn, isn't it just killing Universe Knights? Is there a need to think of a way?" Hearing that Yi Xian wanted to chase him away, the starry sky porcupine became anxious on the spot. He puffed out his chest, raised his hand and patted his chest. With a righteous expression he said, "We are sworn brothers. Your business is my business. Don't worry, hunt and kill." Chapter 44-36. Black Flame Forbidden Area? What's that? Hearing this, Yi Xian's heart skipped a beat. With a flash of light in his eyes he asked directly, "This forbidden area is named after Black Flame. Is it related to some kind of strange flame?" It was no wonder that he was so sensitive. After all, the Shenong Heavenly Flame in the Shenong Cauldron had already evolved to the 8th level. If he could obtain another top-grade Heavenly Flame of Heaven and Earth, the current Shenong 8-colored flames would evolve again and become Shenong 9-color flame. Once it reached the level of 9-color flame, the Shenong Strange Flame would evolve to its peak state. At that time its power would be greatly increased. If Yi Xian's power was further improved to the level of a Universe Knight in his normal state, it would be very possible for him to activate the complete power of the Shenong Cauldron. And all of this, getting another top-tier Strange Flame, was the key. Of course, he was very concerned about it. There is indeed a Strange Flame in the Black Flame Forbidden Area. Space Porcupine was stunned for a while, then nodded and continued, "But I don't know what that Strange Flame is. After all, I've never been there. I've only heard about it. However, this kind of strange flame should be extraordinary, because it is said that the Universe Knight One-Legged Crow Venerable in the Black Flame Forbidden Land was born from this strange flame." Space Porcupine paused for a moment, and a look of fascination appeared on his face. Then he continued, "Among the many different levels of Forbidden Lands and remnant star fields around the Milky Way star field, even the weakest beginner Forbidden Land is not that strong. There will be at least 2 Universe Knights there." Luo Feng muttered. Of course, there are also forbidden areas with only 1 Universe Knight guarding it. Because of various reasons, even if there is only 1 Universe Knight, they can still stand firm and not be afraid of the invasion of other forbidden areas. However, no matter what the reason is, there is no doubt that these forbidden lands only have 1 Universe Knight in charge, but they are still standing firm. The Universe Knight in charge of these forbidden lands has a strong cultivation level. Their strength is basically at the late stage of this realm. At most, there are 3 or 4 exceptions, and there are more special reasons. The Black Flame Forbidden Land is one of the 4 exceptions. There is only one Universe Knight in the Black Flame Forbidden Land, and that is the One-Legged Crow Venerable. Besides, this One-Legged Crow Venerable is only a level 3 Universe Knight now, and he is only a level 3 Universe Knight. A 3rd rank Venerable was able to protect such a huge elementary ultimate forbidden area for so many years. The reason for that is because of this heavenly flame. It's said that the heavenly flame has shrouded an entire star. That star is the birthplace of the One-Legged Crow Supreme, and it's also its current nest. Normally, the One-Legged Crow Supreme hides in this star that's shrouded by the heavenly flame. Inside. Because of this heavenly flame, the One-Legged Crow Supreme's battle power is comparable to that of a late-stage Universe Knight. Not to mention the other elementary ultimate forbidden lands, it's completely enough to guard the Black Flame Forbidden Land. Even if 2 Universe Knights of the middle stage or even 2 Universe Knights of the late stage come together, the One-Legged Crow Venerable hiding in the star nest can still resist them easily with the help of the Sky and Earth Flame. This is also the reason why the Black Flame Forbidden Land has only one Universe Knight, and he's only at level 3 of this realm, but he can still stand firm for so many years. The life form born from this Sky and Earth Flame can actually grow to become a Universe Knight, said Luo Feng. Hearing this, Yi Xian's eyes flashed, and he became more confident. He nodded and said, "If that's the case, this heavenly flame must be of an extraordinary level. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a top-tier heavenly flame." Then, Brother Raging Ape, you mean? Seeing that Yi Xian seemed to be interested and seemed to be very interested, the Starry Sky Porcupine immediately grinned. He stood up on his hind legs and raised his right hoof to beat his chest like a drum. He continued confidently, "Brother Bao Yuan, with your cultivation base, strength and means, there's no doubt that you'll be able to kill this One-Legged Crow Supreme Crow and take away that top-grade heavenly flame. Except for this One-Legged Crow Supreme, I'm familiar with all the other ultimate forbidden lands around the Milky Way star field. Forget about those intermediate ultimate forbidden lands that are guarded by Universe Masters, as we don't have the power to covet them yet. But if it's just an elementary ultimate forbidden lands, it's not a problem at all. As long as you're interested, Brother Raging Ape, I can take you around the other elementary ultimate forbidden lands that are guarded by only one Universe Knight. Although I can't guarantee that I'll be able to collect 10 drops of the blood essence of a Universe Knight, I can take you around 6 or 7 drops. No problem at all. If that's the case, in the end, we can just take the risk of conquering 1 or 2 primary level forbidden areas with 2 Universe Knights guarding them. The venerable blood essence needed to refine the level 26 treasure pellet that you mentioned should be able to gather enough. As he spoke to here, the saliva on the corner of the space porcupine's mouth was about to drip out as he stared at Yi Xian with shining eyes. Brother Violent Ape, that's an existence that can allow a Universe Knight to successfully break through to the level of a Universe Master, after swallowing a 9th step pinnacle. It's a level 26 treasure pill. Except for Brother Raging Ape, I've never heard of any other place that has it. Since I've put in so much effort, can you? Since Brother Raging Ape only needs 1 treasure pill, you can reward me with 1 if you collect enough materials for 2 treasures pills. You're eyeing the level 26 treasure pill? Actually, Yi Xian had already guessed what Space Porcupine was planning. Hearing him say it, he rolled his eyes. You're only a level 6 Emperor Undying, right? Swallowing a level 25 treasure pill that can help you break through to Universe Knight? The time isn't even right yet. Do you have any doubts? Space Porcupine panicked when he heard that Yi Xian didn't seem to care about it at all. I'm already a level 6 Emperor Undying. Isn't it just a level 3 breakthrough? If I grit my teeth, I'll be able to surpass him in no time. Brother Raging Ape, we're relatives. I'm not scolding you, I said the wrong thing. What Space Porcupine means is that I'm related to your good brother, and I'm also his 108th generation ancestor. Isn't it said that the pavilion closest to the water enjoys moonlight first? Brother Raging Ape, you have quite a few level 25 treasure pills that can help you break through to Universe Knight. Why don't you lend me 1 first? Chapter 44-37. After a series of pretentious bargaining, Yixian finally nodded his head and agreed to give the space porcupine a level 25 treasure pellet to break through to the Universe Night realm, once its strength reached the peak of the 9th stage of the Undying Emperor realm. Of course, there were requirements. For this treasure pill, Space Porcupine had to do his best to be Yixian's informant and guide pig. In short, the two of them formed a hunting team and prepared to deal with the beginner forbidden lands around Ring River Star Field. Underground Black Hand, after the discussion, the two of them hurried on. Although Black Flame Forbidden Land wasn't so far away, it wasn't on the opposite side of Milky Way Star Field. It was on the right side of Milky Way Star Field, close to 1 trillion miles away. For such a long distance, Yixian would need a month to travel with the Starry Sky Porcupine. Even if he didn't sleep or rest, he would still need to travel at full speed. Of course, he could also put Space Porcupine into Shinnon Cauldron and enter the 8th transformation of Demon Ape, using his Universe Night level power to travel. That would be much faster. However, there were many drawbacks to doing so. On one hand, Yixian didn't dare to completely trust Space Porcupine, and he was an Emperor-level great being with extraordinary means. If he put Space Porcupine into Shinnon Cauldron and destroyed the treasures in the sealed cave at the bottom of the volcano, it would be a disaster. On the other hand, it was because this place was extremely close to the edge of the various forbidden areas around the Milky Way star region. Under the 8th transformation, Yixian's size exceeded that of a giant star. In addition to his speed, his movements were too loud. Under such eye-catching circumstances, he was heading in the same direction. Obviously, it would be disadvantageous for secret hunting. Therefore, after weighing the pros and cons, Yixian decided to obediently hurry along. Although a month wasn't a short time, it wasn't a long time. Along the way, Yixian had a general understanding of the situation in Black Flame Forbidden Land through Space Porcupine. As a beginner Forbidden Land, Black Flame Forbidden Land had one less Universe Night than Greedy Wolf Forbidden Land. And the only Universe Night there was a nest of a giant star filled with top-tier heaven and earth flames. Everything there was about the same. In Black Flame Forbidden Land, there were a total of 10 Undying Emperors. Yixian didn't plan to let these Undying Emperors go, so he listed them as his secondary targets. Of course, everything was still to kill the one-legged Crow Senior. After a month of rushing, Yixian and Space Porcupine finally arrived at the edge of Black Flame Forbidden Land. Without any hesitation, the two of them charged into the Black Flame Forbidden area one after another. In any case, there was only one Universe Sovereign here, and Yixian was here for him. Sooner or later there would be a battle, so there was no need to hide. Instead of stalling for time, it was better to charge in and start the battle immediately. As for the Starry Sky Porcupine, its cultivation had already reached the 6th level of the Immortal Emperor realm. Moreover, it was only a step away from breaking through to the 7th level of this realm. It could be said to be extremely powerful, so Yixian didn't need to worry about his safety at all. Hence, Yixian didn't plan to put Space Porcupine away. After all, although there were 10 Undying Emperors in this beginner Forbidden Land, none of them had reached the advanced level of Emperor level. The strongest one was only at the level of Space Porcupine. Like a pig, he was only at the 6th level of Emperor level. This old pig wasn't afraid at all. As a matter of fact, not only was he not afraid, but he was also a little pretentious. After all, it was a rare opportunity to follow a Universe Night into a beginner Starry Sky Forbidden Land and start a massacre. Of course, he would not miss this opportunity so easily. After rushing into Black Flame Forbidden Land, Yixian didn't hesitate anymore. He raised his head and roared. 9 changes of Demon Ape. 8th change. Pung! As his voice fell, a huge explosion rang out. His body instantly expanded, and his speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. The power in his body surged like a roaring river. His limbs and bones surged with boundless ferocity, and a terrifying aura that was so majestic that it made one's hair stand on end gushed out. His body, which was originally only 30 meters tall, expanded at an extremely fast speed that made one's hair stand on end within 3 breaths. He had reached a height of 1 billion meters, which was equivalent to 6 million miles. This was definitely comparable to a true giant star, or even more so. Moreover, at the same time that his body expanded, the cultivation aura emanating from Yixian's body also rose at the same speed. In 3 breaths of time, he'd gone from the 7th level of the Emperor Immortal realm to the 6th level of the universe sovereign realm. Level 6 was a pinnacle mid-level universe knight, which was 3 small levels higher than one-legged crow venerable, who was only at level 3 universe knight level. Yi Xian was confident that he could kill his opponent even if his opponent had the sky and earth strange flame. After all, Yi Xian had extraordinary means to deal with such a sky and earth strange flame. He had the Shen-Nong cauldron, and the Shen-Nong strange flame in the cauldron had evolved into an 8-colored flame. He could easily devour a single-colored sky and earth strange flame. After devouring the sky and earth strange flame in black flame forbidden land, the Crow Knight wouldn't be able to survive for long. Li! Howl! Li! As Yi Xian's furious roar rang out, the boundless black flame forbidden area that enveloped the entire area instantly alarmed the countless space beasts within the forbidden area. Countless ferocious beasts rushed out from the ferocious beasts' planets, carrying monstrous anger. Despite that, as soon as they rushed out of the atmosphere, they immediately felt the terrifying pressure of a venerable one that filled the void. In an instant, the earth-shattering roars and howls came to an abrupt halt. The figures of the beasts that had just rushed out from the beastly stars retreated at a speed faster than when they had rushed out. Otherwise, they would just lie down in the void, trembling in fear. "Awoo! Little ones, your master pig is coming." Seeing this scene, the entire vast and boundless elementary supreme forbidden area trembled. The starry sky porcupine immediately stood up on its hind legs, and it raised its head and let out a long howl with its extremely dark belly. Boundless pride was displayed without a doubt. Yi Xian rolled his eyes and couldn't be bothered to pay attention to this fellow. With a flash of his body, Pang Da's terrifying figure, which was 6 million kilometers long, instantly moved at a speed that caused one's hair to stand on end. It was as if a meteor was moving at an extremely fast speed. He shot toward the center of the black flame forbidden land. The speed of a universe knight at the pinnacle of the middle stage was naturally terrifying. Although the black flame forbidden land was vast, it couldn't withstand Yi Xian's terrifying speed. Soon, a gigantic star appeared in front of him. It was almost the same size as him, with a diameter of nearly 6 million miles. Chapter 4438. Just as Yi Xian was about to cry out in alarm, a familiar system notification sounded out in his mind at the same time. Ding! Congratulations to the host for discovering the world-destroying black flame. Grade: Top-tier heaven and earth mysterious flame. Quality: Flame Mother level. Do you want to collect it immediately? As the system notification sounded, the data bank of the engulfing system in Yi Xian's body was updated immediately, adding all kinds of attribute data related to the world-destroying black flame. Yi Xian had only heard of this top-tier heaven and earth mysterious flame before, but he had never seen it before. At this moment, he immediately pulled out all kinds of attribute data related to the world-destroying black flame from the databank of the engulfing system in his body and browsed through it quickly. World-destroying black flame. Just by hearing this name, one could tell how overbearing this top-tier heaven and earth mysterious flame was. Compared to the undying void flame, its aggressiveness was stronger, and its power was incomparably violent. It was the most brutal and destructive type of top-tier heaven and earth mysterious flame. What was even rarer was that this rare world-destroying black flame was actually the same as the undying void flame that Yi Xian had just swallowed. Within it, there was a mother flame. As a top-tier heaven and earth mysterious flame, there was almost no doubt that there was a mother flame within it. As long as Yi Xian swallowed it with the Shen-Nong 8-color flame, then the original 8-color Shen-Nong strange flame was destined to be complete again. One round of transformation and evolution, and then it would step into the 9-color change level. To Yi Xian, this was definitely a huge surprise. Not long ago, he had just swallowed a undying void flame, which allowed the Shen-Nong strange flame in the Shen-Nong cauldron to transform and evolve to the 8-color flame level. He originally thought that the next opportunity would come, and it might take a longer time. It might even take forever, unless he bumped into a great stroke of luck and the opportunity came. Who would have thought that this day would become a reality so soon? Today was really the day of the opportunity, and he definitely bumped into a great stroke of luck. With this thought, Yi Xian did not hesitate anymore, and was about to act impulsively. He did not care about anything else. He would first swallow this rare world-destroying black flame. This terrifying, overbearing and brutal world-destroying black flame might be an extremely troublesome problem for other great beings in the starry sky. Even Universe Knights would not be able to avoid it if they encountered it. However, this was not the case at all for Yi Xian. There was such a problem. Even if the world-exterminating black flame wasn't without an owner, and there was a powerful being at the third level of the Universe Knight within it, who could make it even more powerful if he wanted to control it. However, before the might of the Shenong 8-colored flame, all of this was nothing more than fleeting clouds. Yi Xian was certain that as long as he made a move and summoned the 8-colored flame bridge formed by the 8-colored flames, it would only take him a short amount of time to completely devour the enormous black flames of destruction that was as large as a giant star. At most, it would only take a short period of time. Screech! Just as he was about to take action and summon an 8-colored flame bridge formed purely from the Shenong 8-colored flames to fly across the sky and completely devour the world-destroying black flames, a shocking roar suddenly rang out from within the rolling black flames of the star. Yi Xian's eyes flashed and his right hand, which was about to wave, suddenly stopped. However, there was a cold smile at the corner of his mouth. He was worried that the one-legged crow Venerable would not come out. Therefore, under his secret control, the world-destroying black flame, which was as huge as a giant star, would eventually be devoured by the one-legged crow Venerable, but it would take some time. However, it would definitely take longer. It would be best if he could get rid of this one-legged crow Venerable before it devoured the world-extinguishing black flame. Who? In the void, a black flame that was 10,000 miles long rushed out from within the giant planet. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a gigantic black ferocious bird with a single horn, black feathers, and ferocious eyes. It was a one-legged black crow. As for the aura emitted from its body, it was at the third level of the Universe Knight. This was consistent with the information that Star Porcupine had received. Bao Yuan, why did you invade my black flame forbidden land? After this one-legged black crow that was tens of thousands of kilometers in size charged out from the blazing black flames, it didn't shoot towards Yi Xian. Instead, it stood on top of the black flame star, its eyes sparkling with strands of light, and the sound of its divine sense was accompanied by a powerful force. The pressure of a knight rushed toward Yi Xian. Its voice was cold. It clearly sensed the aura of Yi Xian's 6th-level knight, but it did not feel panicked at all. It seemed that it had a well-thought-out plan and was extremely confident. The source of its confidence was obviously the giant flame star that was formed by countless world-extinguishing black flames under its feet. Inside this flame star, there was a wisp of the mother flame of the world-extinguishing black flames, which could multiply endlessly. As long as this one-legged black crow was not too far away from it, it would have an endless supply of energy. Although it was only a third-level knight, even on the surface, it could guarantee that it would not be defeated by a 7th-level knight at the later stage. Although it could not kill the other party, it could make the other party helpless against it. Otherwise, it would be impossible for it to be so calm when facing the 6th-level knight realm Yi Xian. Yi Xian was well aware of all of this, but he was too lazy to care about it. With a flash of light in his eyes, he waved his hand and directly pulled out an 8-colored flame bridge that was 10,000 miles long from the 8-colored flame pool at the bottom of the volcano in the Shenong Dingyang domain. Xiao! A sharp sound of breaking through the air rang out. As Yi Xian waved his hand again, the 8-colored flame bridge that was like a river in the starry sky instantly shot out. One end was connected to Yi Xian's feet, while the other end was already on the other side of the black flame star in front of him. It was directly placed on top of it. Who? Rumble. The whistling sound of the storm and the rumbling sound of thunder sounded in an instant. The aggressiveness of this kind of world-ending black flame was far beyond that of the undying void flame. At this moment, it felt that there was a foreign object approaching, and it had even touched the surface of the black flame star. In an instant, a massive amount of world-ending black flame rushed over and pounced on the 8-colored flame bridge. Facing all of this, Yi Xian sneered. His figure was like a giant star hanging in the void. He did not make a move. Instead, he watched everything coldly because he could not kill the one-legged crow Venerable, who had an endless supply of energy now. The only way was to wait until the world-ending black flame that formed a giant star was completely devoured. At that time he could easily kill it. The raging black flame roared like a raging river, pouncing on the 8-colored flame bridge. But it was all like a clay ox entering the sea. It had no effect at all. It crossed the void, and the 8-colored flame bridge that was placed on the surface of the black flame star did not even have the slightest ripple. It did not even lift. What kind of flame is this? Screech. Chapter 44:39. Whoosh. Rumble. The roaring of the storm and the rumbling of thunder resounded incessantly. As the 8-color flame bridge shot out, it crossed the void and propped itself on the surface of the black flame star. The effect was like a string of water droplets dripping into a pot of boiling oil in an instant. The movement was too big. The overwhelming black flames of destruction rolled over, carrying a violent aura that could destroy the world, and rushed toward the 8-color flame bridge. However, the time it took for half an incense stick to burn passed. During this process, the endless black flames never stopped attacking the 8-colored flame bridge. The 10,000-mile flame bridge in the void didn't seem to have changed at all from the beginning to the end. However, the situation in the Shenong flame pool at the center of the plain at the bottom of the volcano was completely different. When the first black flames of destruction were sent into the flame pool, the originally calm flame bridge immediately surged with turbulent waves. Endless 8-color flames rose and almost filled the entire vast plain at the bottom of the volcano. These Shenong exotic flames originally only had 8 colors. However, as more and more black flames of destruction were sent into the flame pool through the 8-color flame bridge, a pure black color clearly appeared among the original 8 colors of the Shenong exotic flames. However, this pure black color was still extremely unstable. Sometimes it would appear, sometimes it would disappear, like an ethereal phantom that flickered within the 8 colors. Regarding all of this, Yixian's divine sense had always been closely watching the changes in the Shenong flame pool at the bottom of the volcano. Now, when he saw a large amount of black flames of destruction being swallowed by the flame bridge begin to be sent into the flame pool again, among the original 8 colors in the flame pool, the flickering, illusory transparent color finally began to gradually solidify. Only then did he heave a long sigh of relief. His heart, which had been in his throat all this time, was quietly relieved at this moment. As expected of the black flames of destruction, the effect is quite extraordinary. In just 15 minutes, it actually made a new pure black color appear among the 8-color flames of Shenong. However, evolving from the 8-color flames to the 9-color flames is incomparable to any previous evolution. Obviously, it will be more difficult. Boom! Rumble! Just as Yixian was muttering to himself, a huge roar suddenly came from the black flame star in front of him. Yixian turned his head to look, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Apparently, it was the one-legged crow supreme who had retreated into the black flame star and was controlling the black flame of destruction. Now, under his control, in the area where the other end of the 8-colored flame bridge was in contact with the black flame star, the originally ferocious black flames were instantly reduced by half. It was clear that under the control of the one-legged black crow, it had moved to another area. This guy had already realized that something was wrong. He realized that the 8-colored flame bridge was devouring his world-destroying black flames. That was why he did such a thing in order to escape today's calamity. What a pity. It's already too late for you to realize that something is amiss. With a cold snort, Yixian no longer hesitated. With a thought, he waved his hand. If the other party controlled the rolling black flames on the star, then he would change the landing point of the 8-colored flame bridge. Swoosh! A sharp sound broke through the air. In the blink of an eye, the 10,000-foot wide, 10,000-mile-long 8-colored flame bridge was suspended in the void in front of him. As it whizzed past, it changed its position in an instant. Almost in the next moment, all the world-destroying black flames within a 1,000,000-mile radius, after sensing the aura of the 8-colored flame bridge, rushed toward it like moths to a flame. There were too many of them, and they came from all directions. Such a scene revealed endless madness. Within a 1,000,000-mile radius, all the world-destroying black flames in the void, regardless of size, quality, or size, did not stop after sensing the aura of the invaders. All of them carried the aura of destruction rumbling. In the blink of an eye, they all rushed into the 8-colored flame bridge one after another, causing earth-shattering explosions, roaring endlessly like a tide. This time, in less than half an incense stick of time, all the world-destroying black flames that came into contact with the 8-colored flame bridge, without exception, were mercilessly swallowed by the flame bridge. Moreover, these huge amounts of world-destroying black flames that roared, rushed into the 8-colored flame bridge, and then disappeared after entering the flame bridge, were directly sent to the center of the plain at the bottom of the volcano by the powerful domain of the Shenong Cauldron. Flame Pool. At the same time, in the Shenong Flame Pool at the bottom of the central domain volcano in the inner space of the Shenong Cauldron, endless stormy waves rose, and the overwhelming 8-colored flames continued to rise, filling the entire vast plain at the bottom of the volcano. Originally, there were only 8 colors of the Shenong Flame Pool. Within the strange flames, that additional, almost pure black color had been extremely unstable before. Sometimes it appeared, sometimes it disappeared, like an ethereal phantom flickering in the 8 colors. But now it was becoming more and more solid. Gradually, it no longer flickered and disappeared, as if it was fusing with the Shenong 8-colored flame. It was just that it was still relatively weak at the moment, and compared to the other 8 colors of the Shenong strange flame, it was extremely inconspicuous. Whoosh! Another sharp sound of breaking through the air sounded out. Under Yixian's command, it whistled through the air like a rainbow. The 8-colored flame bridge that shot out instantly charged in another direction, hovering on the other side of the black flame star. The same scene immediately played out again, and the loud rumbling sound that had just stopped surged again like a tide. All the world-destroying black flames in this area completely fell into a frenzy in just a quarter of a column of time. The 8-colored flame bridge was like a whale sucking in water, and all the world-destroying black flames within 1,000,000 miles had been completely devoured in a short period of time. Similar scenes continued to play out. The one-legged crow Venerable was burning with anxiety. As if it was escaping, it controlled the world-destroying black flames to avoid the 8-colored flame bridge. Yixian also changed the landing point of the 8-colored flame bridge on the black flame star again and again, constantly devouring a huge amount of world-destroying black flames. All of this lasted for half a day. Finally, the giant star with rolling black flames in the void in front of them disappeared, and not a single world-destroying black flame was left. It had been completely devoured at this time. In the plains at the bottom of the volcano in the central region inside the Shenong Cauldron, the Shenong 8-colored flame that was rising in the Shenong Flame Pool had just completed this transformation. The pure black color had completely stabilized and flourished, and there was no difference between it and the other 8 colors. At this moment, the Shenong 8-colored flame had finally evolved into the Shenong 9-colored flame. Whoosh! Chapter 4440. After swallowing the world-destroying black flame, which was so huge that it had condensed into a giant star, along with the black flame mother flame that was hibernating within it, within Yixian's body, within the Shenong Cauldron region volcano plain, within the Shenong flame pool that was steaming with endless colorful flames, all of the Shenong 8-colored flames finally transformed and evolved once again, from the 8-colored flames to the 9-colored flames. The 9-colored flames were already the highest level of the Shenong strange flames within the cauldron. Once it reached the level of the 9-colored flames, the transformation of the Shenong strange flames was considered to have entered the peak state, and its power would definitely increase greatly. Right now, the 9-colored flames were already formed. If Yixian's power level improved further, reaching the level of a universe knight in his normal state, then even if he fully activated the power of the Shenong Cauldron, it was highly possible that, even though his power level in his normal state was still hovering around the Emperor level, as the Shenong strange flames evolved from the 8-colored flames to the 9-colored flames. When Yixian controlled the Shenong Cauldron again, its power would increase greatly. As for controlling the Shenong 9-colored flames, whether it was used to fight with the enemy, to refine the blood and flesh medicine, to refine the various level of pills, or simply to roast meat, the effect and power would be far greater than before. Although it had only transformed once and advanced by 1 level, the difference between the 8-colored flames and the 9-colored flames was the difference between imperfect and perfect. In terms of power level, it was absolutely the difference between heaven and earth, like the difference between heaven and earth. At this moment, the one-legged black crow, who had turned around and fled back into the black flame star, appeared again. The entire black flame star, which was comparable to a giant star, was formed by the world-destroying black flame that was rolling like a river. Right now, all of the world-destroying black flame had been completely devoured, leaving nothing behind. Even the mother flame that was hidden in the core of the star was the same. Here, the black flame star would naturally cease to exist. When the star disappeared, the one-legged crow Venerable, who was originally hiding in it, had no place to hide in an instant and was completely exposed. At that moment he was completely different from before, when he was thousands of kilometers tall and surrounded by surging black flames. Previously he was indeed ferocious. However, that was because he was standing on the black flame star formed by the world-exterminating black flame. He was constantly being supplied with a huge amount of black flame energy. But now all the black flames had disappeared. The one-legged venerable crow, who was born in the black flames and had always been parasitic on the black flame star during its growth, immediately revealed its true form. Now, he was a one-legged black crow with a body of 10 million feet. His entire body was black, and there were black flames rushing out of his body from time to time. Although he was still emitting the power of a third-level universe knight, for some reason no matter how one looked at it, it was still giving off a sense of superiority. He gave off the feeling that he was tough on the outside but weak on the inside. Screech! Bandits! Bandits! Bastard! As his body was revealed, the entire black flame star that he used to hide and even live in had completely disappeared. This third-level universe knight level one-legged black crow had completely lost his mind. His body was stamping like thunder in the void space, flapping his black wings. He was extremely angry and screamed, "Violent ape, hand over my world-exterminating black flame right now. At least, hand over the mother-exterminating flame. Otherwise, I will definitely fight you to the end. Even if I have to fight to the end of the world, I will definitely take back the mother flame." Screech! Fight to the end of the world with me? Even if I have to fight to the end of the world, I will still take back the mother flame? TSK TSK TSK. I have to say you really have a good feeling. Hearing the one-legged crow venerable's angry roar, Yixian was stunned for a moment. Then he couldn't help but laugh and roll his eyes on the spot. In the next moment a cold light flashed in Yixian's eyes, and the voice of his divine sense instantly turned sharp, emitting an endlessly cold aura. Could it be that you think that this Star Master has come here today solely for that strand of world annihilation mother flame? That's just a matter of convenience. The real reason I am here today is you. Hong! As soon as the last sentence of his divine sense faded, Yixian no longer hesitated. His terrifying figure, which was as enormous as a star, was still suspended in the air unmoving. However, his right arm suddenly punched out. What? Hearing this, the one-legged crow venerable was obviously stunned for a moment. Then his expression changed drastically. He flapped his wings and dodged Yixian's punch at an extremely fast speed. Then he couldn't help but exclaim, "Are you crazy? You actually want to kill me? Even if you have the strength of a 6th-level universe knight, and I am indeed no match for you as we are both universe knights. Even if I can't defeat you, it's not a problem for me to escape. Don't forget that the Black Flame Forbidden Land isn't the only ultimate forbidden land in the primordial chaos. If you're only here to steal my mother-extinguishing flame, the other supremacies in the ultimate forbidden lands might not care. But if your purpose is to rush into a forbidden land for no reason and kill the universe knights guarding it, then, if you threaten the safety of the knights in the other forbidden lands, they definitely won't sit back and do nothing. Once I escape and spread the news, all the universe knights guarding the forbidden lands nearby will attack at the same time. Then you will definitely die." Speaking of this, the one-legged crow venerable's face was filled with pride. After seeing that Yixian's punch missed, he didn't make any more moves. It seemed that he was listening to his words carefully. Seemed that he was convinced. He immediately changed the topic. "Don't worry, Baoyuan, you can decide for yourself. I can take a step back and give up the rest of the black flame of exterminating flame. I only want the mother exterminating flame. Then, I'll consider today's matter over. Otherwise, once this sovereign escapes, you will have no way to live. Seeing that you are also a 3rd-level universe knight, I rarely had the patience to listen to your nagging, but I didn't expect that all you said was nonsense." As soon as he finished speaking, Yixian suddenly shook his head and sighed. Halfway through his sentence, a light flashed in his eyes, and his body suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already behind the one-legged crow venerable. He said coldly, "Although what you said makes sense, it depends on whether you can survive or not. Do you want to escape?" Hong! A huge roar resounded. The next moment, before the one-legged crow venerable could react, the star-violent ape suddenly threw a punch at his back. Facing the full power of a 6th-level universe knight, The one-legged crow venerable, who was only at the 3rd level, had no chance to react at all. Its colossal body instantly exploded into a cloud of blood mist that spread out in all directions. Xiao. At this moment, Yixian suddenly felt relieved. Without any hesitation, he waved his hand. Chapter 44-41. Howl. The moment the battle ended, a shocking howl resounded from the space to the right. It was the space porcupine's howl. In the past half a day, such sounds could be heard from time to time. It was obvious that the space porcupine was having a great time in the Forbidden Land. However, Yixian was busy swallowing the world-destroying black flames, and didn't have time to care about the space porcupine. Now that everything was over, he immediately turned towards the source of the sound. In his vision, the space porcupine was chasing behind an emperor, rushing towards the center of the Forbidden Land where Yixian was. In the past half a day, he hadn't stopped for a single moment. He had been doing this all this time. At this moment, the air coming out of his long nose was like a hurricane. His sweat was like raindrops, and it seemed like he was dripping quite heavily. This time, the space porcupine had indeed put in a lot of effort. Within the entire Black Flame Forbidden Land, there were 10 emperors as well. However, they weren't very strong. The strongest one was only a level 6 emperor. And he had just broken through to emperor level not too long ago. Compared to Old Pig, who had been in this level for a long time and was only one step away from emperor level 7, he was obviously inferior. Because of this, the moment the space porcupine went all out, the 10 emperors could only avoid him. They didn't dare to take him head-on. Under such circumstances, the space porcupine had been busy for the past half a day. Whenever he saw someone trying to escape, he would immediately rush over and block him, forcing him back into the Forbidden Land. After which, when another target was about to escape, he would immediately rush over and block him again. After half a day, he didn't even stop for half a second. He was already lucky that he didn't tire the space porcupine to death. Of course, with his own strength, even if he were to charge left and right, it would be impossible for him to stop 10 titled emperors. The main reason was that Yixian was in the center of the Black Flame Forbidden area, and the terrifying pressure of a 6th-level Venerable Realm expert spread out from his body. He even specially targeted the 10 emperors, suppressing their speed. Originally. Under such circumstances, the 10 Undyings had a plan, which was to work together and fight the pig demon. Even though some of them would fall, some would still be able to escape. It was a pity that at such a time, no one was willing to stand out. No one was willing to stay behind to face a terrifying level 6 knight. These 10 emperors only cared about fleeing for their lives, resulting in such a scene. The 10 emperors were all stopped by the space porcupine alone. None of them managed to escape from the Black Flame Forbidden area. Oh woo! Brother Violent Ape, are you done? If that's the case, I'll leave the rest to you. I'm so tired. At this moment, when he saw Yixian turn around and look at him, Old Pig's spirits were lifted. After he finished speaking, he immediately rushed forward. Previously, he had only chased them away and obstructed them. However, this time he had struck out in anger. Finally, he no longer had to run for his life. All of his anger was vented in an instant. Oh woo! Damn bird, you were the only one who could do this before. In just half a day, how many times have I stopped you? Why don't you run? Why don't you run again? If I can't kill you, rumble. Pong! With a roar filled with endless resentment, the space porcupine didn't hesitate anymore and rushed at the emperor he was chasing away. This was a ferocious bird. It was very fast. Even though it was only a level 2 emperor, it had indeed taken up most of Old Pig Spirit's energy. But now for the Old Pig Demon, it was clearly time for him to take revenge for all his grievances and enmity. As he raised his hooves, a huge rumbling sound of thunder rang out, followed by a shocking explosion. The ferocious bird in front of him that was fleeing in panic, after letting out a wail, its entire huge body exploded. Following that, the majestic chi and blood that exploded quickly gathered toward the Old Pig Spirit as he inhaled. It turned into a blood bead the size of a human head, and was swallowed by the Old Pig Spirit. Brother Violent Ape, I've already taken care of one. There are still 9 left. If you kill less than Old Pig, then it'll be extremely embarrassing. After finally venting his anger, Old Pig Spirit felt refreshed. He turned around and saw that Yixian didn't seem to have done anything, so he roared smugly. After that, he turned around and rushed at the other emperor. Yixian shook his head and bitterly smiled but didn't say anything. With a shake of his shoulder, his figure instantly disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already behind the fellow with the cultivation of the Sixth Order Immortal Emperor. Without the slightest hesitation, he lightly punched out. Hong! A huge rumble resounded. In the next instant, before this emperor could react, Space Violent Ape's punch landed on his back, facing the full strength attack of a level 6 knight. This level 6 emperor didn't even have time to react. Its colossal body instantly exploded into a cloud of blood mist that spread out in all directions. Xiao! In the next instant, Yixian didn't hesitate and waved his hand. A formless energy spread out from his body. In the blink of an eye, it had already covered the space within a radius of 10 million miles. All the blood mist that had just spread out was swept over. After absorbing it into his body, he immediately sent it into the Shunnong cauldron, and threw it into the flame pool at the bottom of the central region's volcano. After that, his body flashed and he also rushed at the second emperor. Just like that, Yixian and Space Porcupine, a level 6 knight and a level 6 emperor, split up and charged left and right from the center of Black Flame Forbidden Area. A true bloodbath began. This scene was too shocking. The targets that the two of them killed were all Emperor-level martial artists. These were all Emperor-level martial artists. Even in the void fragment outside the primordial void space, it was a top-notch forbidden ground in the starry skies. Absolute overlords. If they were in the 3 main space dimensions, they would be extremely rare existences. Basically, they were all ancestors of various races. However, here they were the prey. Like stray dogs, they were crazily chased by Yixian and Space Porcupine. Hong! Hong long long! The Space Porcupine stomped on the ground with its 2 front hooves, and a third-order Emperor Immortal exploded, turning into a mist of blood that dispersed rapidly. Awoo! Immediately after, the old pig spirit raised his head and let out a long howl. In an instant, a majestic and invisible force was emitted from his body, enveloping the void within a radius of millions of miles. It gathered the spreading blood mist and finally transformed into a human head the size of a human head. Chapter 44-42. Rumble. The Space Berserk Ape suddenly punched out, and a huge rumble resounded in the space. In the next instant, a nearby Undying howled in agony as his huge body exploded from his back. This was the last emperor within the Forbidden Land. Against the full power attack of the Space Berserk Ape, this level 4 Undying didn't even have a chance to react. Its huge body instantly exploded into a cloud of blood mist at the same time Bao Yuan's punch landed, and then spread out. Xiu! Without the slightest hesitation, Yixian immediately waved his hand, and a sharp sound of something tearing through the air resounded. A formless energy spread out from his body. In the blink of an eye, it covered a 10,000 m radius of space. The dark red blood mist that had just spread out was all swept over. After keeping it within his body, he immediately sent it into the Farmer God Cauldron, and into the Central Region Volcano's flame pool to begin the blood essence refinement. At this point, the 10 emperors within the Forbidden Land had all fallen. Howl! Brother Violent Ape, this battle was too beautiful. We got a total of 10 Emperor Blood Essences and 1 Supreme Blood Essence. Xiao. The Starry Sky Porcupine was extremely excited. Its body flashed as it charged towards Yixian. After raising its head and howling, it opened its mouth and sent 3 blood droplets the size of a human head towards Yixian. With a wave of his hand, the 3 blood pearls were kept by Yixian and sent into the Farmer God Cauldron's flame pool to begin the blood essence refinement. Simultaneously, he flashed and rushed towards a distant huge star. This was one of the nests of the 10 emperors that had been killed before. Simultaneously, Yixian's voice resounded through. Let's split up and take all the treasures from the nests of the 10 emperors. After that, we'll leave immediately. There are after all other forbidden lands around. We've stayed too long in the Forbidden Land this time. If we delay any longer, there will be changes. We have to stop while we're ahead. Howl! The Starry Sky Porcupine raised its head and let out a long howl before turning around and rushing towards another nearby giant star. After more than 2 hours, the nest stars of the 10 emperors that were killed were completely looted. After Yixian and the Space Porcupine met up, They didn't stay any longer and immediately left the black flame forbidden area. They unleashed their maximum speed and instantly disappeared without a trace. Roar! Not long after Yi Xian and the starry sky porcupine left, an earth-shattering roar echoed in the black flame forbidden land. A ferocious beast the size of a star tore through the void and appeared in the black flame forbidden land. The area where the black flame star used to be was now empty, and there was no trace of the one-legged crow supreme's aura in the entire black flame forbidden area. Even the 10 emperors in the forbidden land had been killed, and there was still a faint smell of blood lingering in the void space. This great being was terrifyingly huge, and his cultivation level had reached that of a 7th-tier supreme being. He was only 1 tier away from becoming a half-step universe master. This powerful being roared at the sky with endless grief and indignation. After roaring, this powerful night-level ferocious beast stayed in the void space for about 7 to 8 days, as if he was looking for some clues. Finally, he seemed to have found something, and with a flash of his body, he rushed out of the black flame forbidden land. Looking at the direction he was heading, it was the direction Yi Xian and the starry sky porcupine had left. Xiao! Xiao! In the void space, a faint sound of breaking through the void space was heard. Yi Xian and the starry sky porcupine stopped abruptly not far from an abandoned star. Then, one after the other, they landed on the abandoned star. After leaving the black flame forbidden land, the two used extreme speed to travel in the void space for 3 days. They were already far enough away from the black flame forbidden land. Even if there were pursuers behind them, they should have already shaken them off. Brother Bao Yuan, we have gained a lot this time. Putting aside the supremacy blood essence, just the arch blood essence alone is enough to refine 2 level 25 supremacy supreme pills, right? After entering the inner land of the star, the two landed in a valley. As soon as they landed, the starry sky porcupine immediately rushed toward Yi Xian with a face full of anticipation. He had always thought that a level 25 supremacy supreme pill would require 5 the arch blood essences to refine. Therefore, from his understanding, he should only be able to refine 2 level 25 supremacy supreme pills from the 10 the arch blood essences he obtained this time. Alright, let's begin the refinement now. You have contributed greatly this time, so you deserve this supremacy blood essence. Yi Xian did not point it out and nodded immediately. Then, he extended his divine sense into the farmer god cauldron in his body. After checking, he realized that the 10 blood pearls had all been refined into the arch blood essences. Xiao. After saying that, Yi Xian waved his hand and took out the farmer god cauldron. There was a faint sound of something breaking through the air. Then, his figure flashed and directly arrived at the mouth of the farmer god cauldron, which was shrouded in 9-colored fog. He sat down cross-legged and flipped his hand again. Then 10 the arch blood essences the size of an infant's fist appeared in his right palm. These 10 the arch blood essences would be used together with a large number of other top-notch treasures and treasured bodies of primordial beings as the basic ingredients for Yi Xian's refinement of the level 25 supremacy supreme pill. Besides these 2 basic ingredients, Yi Xian would also add about 10 drops of all evil origin liquid, and some top-notch resources that he found in the primordial chaos void previously. He had already refined the level 25 the arch supreme pill before, so he was very familiar with the process. There was nothing to consider at all. After everything was prepared, Yi Xian suddenly waved his hand and prepared all the resources and top-notch treasures required for the formula. Then he closed his eyes. Farmer god cauldron in the inner space at the bottom of the volcano in the central region. Xiao! Xiao xiao xiao! The sound of something breaking through the air rang out one after another. Densely packed lights of various colors shot out from the mouth of the cauldron above the central domain volcano. These lights appeared directly above the flame pool at the bottom of the volcano and suddenly stopped. They were the top-notch treasures and cultivation resources that Yi Xian had prepared for this level 25 supremacy supreme pill. 10 drops of the arch blood essences. 10 drops of all evil origin liquid. And all sorts of top-notch treasures and treasures that were so rare that it made one's hair stand on end. Huff! Almost in the next instant, a majestic farmer god 9-colored flame whizzed up from the flame pool at the bottom of the central domain volcano below these top-notch treasures. In an instant, it condensed into a 9-colored cauldron that was about 10 feet wide. It was small and simple and exuded an extraordinary aura. Following the formation of this small flame cauldron that was formed purely from the farmer god nine-colored flame, the materials and resources such as the ferocious beast blood essences had already been prepared. All of them flew up automatically and entered this small flame cauldron that was only about 10 feet wide. From then on, the refinement of the second batch of level 25 pills officially began. Just one level 25 pill was enough to make a 9th stage emperor at the pinnacle of the undying realm instantly become a universe knight. Chapter 44-43. He performed many hand signs, transforming them into mysterious inscriptions that floated above the Shunnong cauldron, and into the energy cauldron at the bottom of the central region volcano. Unknowingly, time passed slowly. Hong! For hours later, above the flame pool at the center of the central territory, a huge roar sounded, and the cauldron formed by the pure Shunnong 7-colored flames instantly dissipated. Like a great river, the 9-colored flames roared and rushed back to the fire pool below. What remained above the flame pool were 8 infant fist-sized round beads. Although they were the same size as the blood essence from before, they were completely different. The blood essence was blood red in color, and it was filled with blood energy. These 8 round beads, although they were also the size of infant fists, glowed with 9 colors. They had a dreamy glow on their surface, and they gave off an ancient and heavy energy. Level 25 pill. Just one of them was enough to allow an Emperor level 9 pinnacle undying to break through to the Universe Knight level within a short period of time after swallowing it. There are actually 8 of them? The moment this batch of pills was completed, Yi Xian's voice resounded from the Shunnong cauldron at the top of the central region volcano, revealing a strong sense of surprise. In the last batch of level 25 supreme pills, he had used 9 drops of titled Emperor blood essences to refine only 6 supreme pills. But this time, he had used 10 drops of titled Emperor blood essences. According to his calculations, he should be able to refine around 7 supreme pills. But now there was one more and the time was much faster. It only took 4 hours. This was simply unimaginable to Yi Xian. Without a doubt, this was due to the increase in power of the Shunnong 8-colored flames within the Shunnong 9-colored flames within the Shunnong cauldron. It was simply too obvious. Even though Yi Xian was mentally prepared, he was still shocked. Of the 8 level 25 night level pills, he only needed to give 1 to the space porcupine. As for the remaining 7, Yi Xian planned to keep them all. This way, including the 6 from before, he had a total of 13 level 25 night level pills. It would be enough for a very long time in the future. In fact, Yi Xian hadn't even thought that there would be 12 universe sovereigns under his command in the future. With a thought, the 8 level 25 night level pills were all collected by Yi Xian and stored in a jade bottle in the Shunnong cauldron for the time being. However, he did not end the refinement because it was still early. The Shunnong cauldron's power had increased so much, so he decided to refine another cauldron of flesh medicine. If there were no accidents, the flesh medicine refined this time should be a 9-colored divine medicine. The 9-colored godly medicine was the pinnacle of flesh godly medicines, and its effect was far beyond that of an 8-colored godly medicine. To Yi, who was in urgent need of improving his power, he couldn't wait. Xiao. After making his decision in the next moment, Yi Xian took out the corpses of 108 desolate ancient creatures from the sealed cave at the bottom of the volcano in the central region of the cauldron. At the same time, he also took out a large amount of top-grade precious herbs. And this time, in terms of the spring water used for the refinement, he was just as extravagant. He still directly used a mixture of innate chilling spirit liquid and netherworld furnace lotion as a substitute. Swish! Swish, swish, swish. With the sound of rushing air, all the materials hovering in the air automatically flew into the huge cauldron condensed from the Shunnong 9-colored flames. They melted together in the blink of an eye. Following that, Yi Xian's hands swiftly danced like butterflies fluttering through flowers. Streaks of obscure runes of different colors and shapes fell from his hands like rain, directly entering the 8-colored cauldron in the form of energy. Its power could be said to be overwhelming, densely packed, and the amount was so great that it made one's hair stand on end. All of the cryptic runes were the perfect medicine concoction formula that Yi Xian had mastered not long ago. And at this moment, as they fell into the 9-colored furnace, this furnace of top-grade flesh medicine was completely refined, to the point where the time was almost negligible. It had even surpassed the cauldron of level 25 Venerable Supreme pellets from before. This time, the ingredients used to refine the great medicine were the same as last time. The lowest level was at the titled Emperor realm, and nearly half of them were at the quasi-desolation realm. Now that the great medicine was successfully refined, countless auspicious phenomena of dragons and tigers leaping appeared in the void. Ing! Roar! This scene was too shocking. The gigantic phantoms of true dragons and true phoenixes all rushed out of the cauldron, roaring with their necks outstretched. For a moment, there was a myriad of phenomena. Boom! In the next moment, a loud explosion sounded out. The 9-colored cauldron in the air in front of them emitted boundless treasure light. In an instant, it transformed into specks of 8-colored light that were put away by Yi Xian with a wave of his hand. Then, with a thought, he threw it into the fire pool of the Shenong Cauldron Domain's volcano in his body. At this point, the refinement of this cauldron of flesh and divine medicine was finally completed. In an instant, as the 9-colored flame furnace disappeared, in the void above the valley in front of his line of sight, there was only a large canopy of dense 9-colored flesh and blood divine medicine left. Its 9-colored luster was so dense that it could not be dissolved. Compared to the last batch of 8-colored divine medicines that Yi Xian had refined, not only had their grades increased by a level, but their medicinal effects were also several times stronger. It was only natural for them to increase by a large amount. Even the volume of this 9-colored divine medicine was as huge as a giant mountain peak. At this moment, it was quietly hanging in the void above the valley in front of him, emitting a strong aura of energy that made people unable to look at it directly. Heavens, 9-colored divine medicine? Is this the legendary 9-colored divine medicine? Perhaps because of the dragon's roar and phoenix's cry, the space porcupine, who originally followed Yi Xian's order to protect him in the void outside the star, also entered the star at this moment. Seeing the 9-colored divine medicine that was like a giant mountain peak hanging in the void before Yi Xian, the space porcupine immediately exclaimed in shock. His eyes were blazing with light, and even the corners of his mouth were dripping with saliva. Xiao. As soon as he finished speaking, a faint sound of breaking through the void was heard, and a ray of light shot out from Yi Xian's hand and flew toward the space porcupine. It was a jade bottle, and inside it was a level 25 night treasure pill that could allow an undying emperor to break through to the universe night level in a short period of time. Hey, this time you put in a lot of effort, so you deserve this level 25 night treasure pill. Glancing at the space porcupine, Yi Xian finished speaking and waved his hand again. In the blink of an eye, the 9-colored divine medicine that was like a giant mountain peak hanging in the void before him disappeared in an instant. It was absorbed into the internal space of the Shenong Cauldron in his body. Chapter 44-44. Xiao. With a wave of his hand, the space porcupine caught the jade bottle and put it away. However, at this moment, the space porcupine's attention was no longer on the level 25 night pill in the jade bottle. What he really cared about was the 9-colored godly medicine that Yi Xian had just put away. That was a 9-colored godly medicine, and there was so much of it. It was like a 10,000 zhang tall mountain hanging in the sky above the valley. Even a great being at the universe night level would be able to use such a large pot of godly medicine for a very long time, given the horrifying efficacy of this level of godly medicine. To the space porcupine, this 9-colored godly medicine was no small matter. He was already a pinnacle level 6 emperor, and he was only one step away from level 7 emperor. Level 7 was only 2 levels away from level 9 pinnacle. If he were to cultivate like before, even if he gritted his teeth day and night, it would take him at least a few years to break through these 2 levels and become a pinnacle level 9 emperor. To an emperor, a few years was nothing. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that a few years would pass in a single seclusion. However, things were different now. The starry sky porcupine had just obtained a level 25 Venerate Supreme Elixir. This Venerate Supreme Elixir was his motivation. Right now, he couldn't wait to raise his cultivation base to the great circle of the 9th stage. That way, he would be able to consume the level 25 Emperor titled treasure pill immediately. Under such circumstances, a few years would be a torment to him, a painful torment. If he didn't handle it well, he might be too anxious during his seclusion, leading to his inner demons. If he went berserk, it was highly possible. And all of this could be easily resolved by the 9-colored godly medicine he had just seen. There was no doubt about the effect of the 9-colored godly medicine. Even the space porcupine, a veteran emperor, had only heard of it in legends. He had never seen it before. In fact, not to mention a 9-colored godly medicine, he hadn't even seen a single-colored godly medicine before. Even if it was a violet gold precious medicine that was below the divine medicine level, it was the same. Just when it saw the 9-colored divine medicine earlier and sensed the formidable aura that was emitted from the 9-colored divine medicine, the starry sky porcupine was practically instantly able to determine that it didn't need to be too big at all. At most, it was around 3 kilometers in circumference. With his cultivation, he could smoothly break through to level 9 pinnacle level emperor in just 1 or 2 months. The difference between 1 or 2 months and a few years was needless to say. Because of this, when he heard Yi Xian say that the 9-colored godly medicine had nothing to do with him, and saw him coming over, he even waved his hand and put away the medicine. This old man immediately became anxious. Awu. Brother Baoyuan. No, brother Baoyuan, you can't ignore this little brother. The space porcupine looked up to the sky and howled anxiously. The space porcupine rushed forward and almost laid on Yi Xian's body. He cried and complained with snot and tears. Brother Baoyuan, you don't know, this little brother's heart is bitter. Stop. Seeing this scene, Yi Xian's face turned green. With a shake of his shoulders, he directly retreated tens of thousands of feet away. After rolling his eyes, he spread his hands and said, Don't you just want the 9-colored godly medicine? Can't you talk nicely? Don't wipe your snot on your body so easily, okay? Awu. A few minutes later, the starry sky porcupine raised its head and let out a long howl of joy. Its figure flickered, and with the 9-colored divine medicine, it drilled into the core of the star under its feet. With the space porcupine's action, Yi Xian shook his head and smiled bitterly. After calming down, he immediately waved his hand. He also decided to break through again and try the effect of the 9-colored godly medicine. With a whistling sound, 500 cubic meters of the 9-colored godly medicine and various other resources were taken out of the Shenong cauldron and suspended in front of him. Then he activated the domain of the Shenong cauldron and compressed it into a small ball. In the blink of an eye, it entered his mouth. Soon as the medicinal power spread out, Yi Xian's body instantly had a majestic river of energy, which quickly surged out. Hua! Walala! In the next moment, the sound of chains rattling like a tide came from his body, and this time 2 shackles of the human body's potential appeared at the same time. This made him quite surprised, but then he was overjoyed, because this meant that the effect of the resources he had just swallowed was extremely majestic, enough to shake the 2 shackles in Yi Xian's body. What he had to do next was to completely tear apart these 2 shackles in the process of refining these medicinal power. Once he did this, his cultivation strength would once again welcome 2 consecutive breakthroughs, without any suspense. In the blink of an eye, the intense piercing pain that he had expected came as expected. Although it wasn't as painful as before, it was definitely far from a good feeling. The pain was like a maggot attached to the bones, and it would never go away. However, Yi Xian had long since gotten used to the pain of tearing apart the shackles of his body. At this moment, under this kind of unbearable pain, his mind was not shaken in the slightest. From beginning to end, Yi Xian had even forgotten the existence of time, and his entire mind was completely immersed in it. After an unknown amount of time, when he felt the piercing pain in his body completely disappear, Yi Xian's consciousness returned and he subconsciously opened his eyes. Both eyes. Almost in the next moment, the familiar system beep sounded in his mind again. Twice in a row. Ding! Congratulations to host for breaking through to the next level of the Ancient Cave Void Technique. Current level. Emperor level 8. Ding! Congratulations to host for breaking through to the next level of the physical body energy. Current level. Emperor level 8. Emperor level 8. Not long ago, if Yi Xian had unleashed the bloodline ability of the 9 demonic ape to the 8th form, he would have reached the pinnacle battle strength of a universe knight at level 6. Now, with the arrival of another breakthrough, if he activated the bloodline ability of the 9 demonic ape, even if he didn't unleash the 9 demonic ape transformations, his strength would reach level 9 of the Emperor level, and he would finally reach the pinnacle of the Emperor level. Complete. And once he unleashed the bloodline ability of the 9 demonic ape to the 8th form, His battle strength would instantly reach level 8 of the Universe Knight level. Thinking of this, Yi Xian's eyes gleamed, and he subconsciously clenched his fists. Just one more step and I'll reach level 9 of the Universe Knight level. Chapter 44-45. In addition to the fact that Yi Xian had activated the Devil Ape bloodline in his body, and transformed into the form of a 30-meter-tall starry sky berserk ape, the current cultivation aura emanating from his body was at the peak of the 9th level of the Immortal Emperor realm. Xiao. With a faint sound, Yi Xian waved his hand and kept the Shenong cauldron. He stood up and looked down at the star below him. He murmured. Although Old Pig Spirit is only at the 6th level of the Emperor Immortal realm, he has been in this realm for many years. He's only one step away from the 7th level. Even if it's just a normal seclusion, he can break through it easily. He murmured. And with the 1,000 cubic meters of 9-colored godly medicine I gave him, he will be able to break through smoothly from level 7 to level 9 Emperor Pinnacle, even though there are still 2 levels to go. The moment he reaches level 9 Emperor Pinnacle, he will not be able to hold himself back and will swallow the level 25 Knight pill. If that's the case, he should be a level 1 Universe Knight by the time we meet again, and it should take about 3 months for him to finish his closed-door training, said Luofeng. Well, even though I just broke through and it is not suitable for me to train in the near future, I am already a level 8 Emperor Pinnacle. One more breakthrough, and I will be able to swallow the level 25 Knight pill. From now on, I will enter the Universe Knight realm, and the level 26 treasure pill I need next, but I haven't even figured out the perfect recipe yet. I will take this chance to guard him and use it to study the level 26 treasure pill. After saying that, Yi Xian didn't hesitate any longer. His figure flashed and he directly arrived in the void of the universe outside the abandoned star beneath his feet. After sitting down cross-legged in the void, he immediately activated the mental energy within the magic core in his mind. He activated the perfect oscillation mental power secret technique and concealed his body. He withdrew all of his aura and immediately ordered the devouring system in his body to postpone the derivation of the Devil Ape 9th transformation. He used all the computing power of the system and started to study the perfect recipe for the level 26 treasure pill. At the same time, he closed his eyes and concentrated. The godly consciousness of a level 9 Emperor Pinnacle was fully immersed in the process. He cooperated with the devouring system in his body and started to study the formula. Although the perfect pill formula for a level 26 treasure pill was definitely far more difficult than the level 25 venerable pill from before, the devouring system in Yi Xian's body was also growing compared to before. And his strength was also increasing. Even though he had not activated the bloodline ability of the 9 demon ape transformations, his godly consciousness was at the level of a half-step knight. According to Yi Xian's estimation, even if he spent 3 months to study the formula, he would still not be able to complete the perfect recipe for the level 26 treasure pill. However, it would not be a problem to complete 70 to 80% of the process. As for the remaining portion, if the pig demon did not come out, he would complete it. If the pig demon had already come out, then he could take some time to come out and end this matter easily. At the same time, just as Yi Xian restrained all of his aura and began to deduce the perfect pill formula for the level 26 treasure pill, an incomparably powerful ferocious bird was flying out from the black flame forbidden area about 10 billion kilometers away from him. It was coming from the direction of the black flame forbidden land. This ferocious bird was terrifyingly powerful. It had reached the 7th level of the Universe Knight realm, and it was a late-stage knight. It was also the one who had rushed to the black flame forbidden land, discovered the unforeseen event, and spent a few days to find the traces of the clues. It existed. It was a blood cloud gray rock. Its body was covered in gray feathers, and only its eyes were as red as blood. Its Jijan was extremely terrifying. It was 1,000,000 miles long and covered the sky. It was one of the space beasts that was known for its speed. The reason why this blood cloud gray rock was so angry was that it was a good friend of the one-legged crow venerable in the black flame forbidden land. Hence, when it entered the black flame forbidden land and found out that the one-legged crow venerable had died, and even the 10 emperors in the forbidden land had all been killed, this blood cloud gray rock was so angry. Almost without any hesitation, he immediately started to search, and after finding the slightest trace of clues and deducing the direction of the murderer, he immediately flapped his wings and chased after him, with his terrifying cultivation as a 7th-order venerable, if it wasn't for the fact that he spent too much time searching for the traces that Yi Xian had erased within the Black Flame Forbidden area. He probably wouldn't have waited for Yi Xian to complete his breakthrough and would have already chased him here. If that was really the case, then although Yi Xian, who was in closed-door cultivation, had the protection of the Shenong Cauldron and wouldn't be injured, it would be hard to predict whether or not he would be able to successfully break through after being disturbed in this kind of closed-door cultivation. If he was lucky, he would be able to complete the breakthrough. If he was unlucky, all his efforts would be in vain. As for the old pig venerable who was guarding the void outside the abandoned planet, there was no doubt that he would be killed by this blood cloud gray rock on the spot. Fortunately, they were lucky. Of course, this was also because Yi Xian was very careful. Before leaving the Black Flame Forbidden Land, he did not forget to erase all the traces left behind by himself, and the old pig venerable a distance of over 10 billion kilometers wasn't too far for this 7th-level venerable realm pig spirit. In a short period of less than half a day, his enormous figure had already appeared at the distant end of this star region. They were merely 200 to 300 million kilometers away from the abandoned star where the starry sky porcupine was in closed-door cultivation. At this time, Yi Xian used the perfect vibration of his spiritual power to hide his body. He sat cross-legged in the void and protected the old pig venerable who was cultivating in seclusion. At the same time, he activated his divine sense to the extreme and cooperated with the devouring system in his body. He used all his strength to deduce the perfect formula of the level 6 treasure pill. Even with this blood cloud gray rock's terrifying level 7 venerable cultivation, it was impossible for him to see through Yi Xian's qi. However, although he could not sense Yi Xian's qi, the old pig venerable was different. Although he had sneaked into the depths of the abandoned planet's core, how could he escape the detection of a level 7 venerable's terrifying divine sense? Screech! Damn it, it's actually an old pig venerable who is not even at the half-step venerable realm. With just a sweep of his divine sense, the blood cloud gray rock discovered the space porcupine that was hibernating in the depths of the planet's core. A shrill screech came from his mouth, revealing endless resentment and unwillingness. Chapter 44-46. Screech! Whoosh! Whoosh! An earth-shattering howl resounded, followed closely by 2 extremely sharp sounds of something tearing through the air. In the cosmic void more than 100 million miles away, the blood cloud gray rock, which was spreading its wings and swooping over, raised its head and screeched. Its eyes, which were filled with monstrous anger, instantly shot out 2 crimson rays of light. This blood cloud gray rock's body was 1,000,000 miles long when it stretched out its wings. Each of the pair of crimson eyes on its head was as large as a small meteor. At this moment, the 2 crimson rays that shot out from its eyes were 2 energy light pillars with the diameter of a small meteor. They exuded a terrifying aura that could destroy everything. In the blink of an eye, they had crossed tens of millions of miles of the void and reached more than 2,000 miles away. Thousands of miles away at this time, old pig spirit was still in seclusion in the depths of the core of this planet. It was far from time for him to come out. With the speed of these 2 crimson light pillars, it would only take about a breath to reach more than 20 million miles away. At that time, once they bombarded this abandoned planet, with the terrifying aura it emitted, the entire planet would probably explode completely and turn into cosmic dust. As for old pig spirit who was in seclusion in the core of the planet, even if he did not die on the spot, he would at least be seriously injured. If his state of mind was disturbed, it was very likely that he would suffer from qi deviation. The situation was extremely critical from the beginning. It was also at this moment that Yi Xian, who was sitting cross-legged tens of millions of miles away from the planet, suddenly opened his eyes. Although he was immersed in his mind and focused on cooperating with the devouring system in his body to deduce the perfect elixir formula of the level 26 treasure pill, he was still in a foreign space. After all, this was an unfamiliar cosmic void. It was impossible for Yi Xian not to be prepared at all. He had already left a trace of his divine sense outside to be vigilant. In fact, just as this blood cloud gray rock arrived hundreds of millions of miles away and had not launched this attack, Yi Xian had already sensed his arrival and immediately withdrew from the deduction process of the perfect level 26 treasure pill. Not only that, the moment Yi Xian stood up, he also withdrew the perfect vibration spiritual power mystic technique. In the next instant, his figure appeared in the void. There's actually a half-step Exalt Realm Starry Sky Violent Ape? No wonder Senior Crow was killed by you. With the two of you working together and some other tricks, it's not impossible. The moment he appeared, Blood Cloud Grey Rock, who was already 100 million miles away, immediately discovered Yi Xian's existence. The voice of his divine sense came over. Although there was surprise, there was even more ridicule and disdain in it. This kind of chi-concealing secret technique is not bad. It actually managed to fool this senior's perception and probing. It's a pity that there's something wrong with his head. If he had just holed up like a turtle, he might have been able to escape with his life. As for now, since we've been exposed, then let's die together. Screech! In the end, the blood crystal and the gray rock raised their heads and roared again. One of the two blood-red eye beams that had been aimed at the star where Pig was cultivating suddenly changed its direction and blasted straight at Yi Xian. At this moment, Yi Xian's eyes glinted coldly. Without hesitation, he raised his head and roared. 9 changes of demonic ape. 8th change. Pung! As soon as his voice fell, a huge explosion was heard. In the blink of an eye, Yi Xian's body expanded explosively. The speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. The power in his body was rolling like a roaring river. His limbs and bones surged with endless ferocity, and an unimaginably majestic and terrifying aura surged out. In less than 1/10 of a breath, his body, which was originally only 30 meters tall, expanded at an extremely fast speed. It was visible to the naked eye that he had reached a height of 1 billion feet. That was 3 million miles. This was definitely comparable to a real giant star, or even more so. In addition, at the same time that his body expanded, the cultivation aura emanating from Yi Xian's body also rose at the same speed. In half a breath of time, he had already reached the 8th level of the Universe Sovereign Realm from the 9th level of the Immortal Emperor Realm. 8th level Knight. Just this level of cultivation, compared to the Blood Cloud Grey Rock that was already 70 to 80 million miles away, it was already a small realm stronger. However, in reality, if Yi Xian's 8th change was added to the 6 million miles huge body and the majestic energy within it, his actual battle power was comparable to a 9th level Pinnacle Knight. It could be said that he was invincible below the level of Universe Master. With a battle power comparable to a 9th level Pinnacle Knight, he was going to fight Blood Cloud Grey Rock, who was only at the 7th level of the Universe Knight realm. There was no suspense about the final outcome of this battle. The battle hadn't even started, but the outcome was already decided. Li. Seeing this scene, the Blood Cloud Grey Rock, who was rushing over, suddenly screamed. His divine sense voice was filled with disbelief. 8th rank Venerable? This is impossible. This was indeed too frightening and dreamy. Just a moment ago, he was only an undying emperor, and in the next moment, he had become a Universe Knight. And not just any Universe Knight, but a Universe Knight at level 8, close to being a pinnacle. Such a being, below the level of Universe Master, there were few who could match him. More importantly, Xueqing and Huipeng had never heard of this starry sky violent ape before. Although there were a lot of forbidden areas and star regions around the Milky Way star field, and there were even areas where some small forces gathered, it was even more chaotic. However, as a late-stage knight, Blood Cloud Grey Rock obviously knew a lot about these forbidden lands. If there was such a level 8 Universe Knight, there was no way he wouldn't have heard of it before. The only explanation was that the strength of the 8th Order Exalt realm that the Starry Sky Ape displayed wasn't its normal cultivation at all. It had been forcefully raised in an instant by some sort of powerful bloodline secret technique. I can't believe there's such a miraculous bloodline technique in this world. As these thoughts flashed through his mind, Xueqing Huipeng immediately confirmed his guess. His figure came to an abrupt stop thousands of miles away, but there was a burning light in his eyes. He stared fixedly at Yi Xian and laughed strangely. However, this secret technique obviously doesn't belong to you. The bloodline of the Starry Sky Berserk Ape has never heard of this before. Since it was taken from him, then this sovereign also has the chance to obtain it. As long as I kill you, this miraculous bloodline technique will belong to me. Hee. If that's the case, Crow Master's death is worth something. Today, not only will I help him get his revenge, but I'll also take your technique. Who knows? I might be able to get the power of a Universe Master earlier. Chapter 44-47. You're right, this kind of bloodline secret technique did not originally belong to this Star Lord. The eyes of the starry sky berserk ape, which was 6 million kilometers long and larger than an enormous planet, emitted strands of bright light. At this moment, Yi Xian's voice of divine sense resounded throughout the entire space. Moreover, once this secret technique is used, it can instantly increase one's cultivation by an entire realm. Why? My original cultivation level was only at the 8th level of the Emperor realm. If I didn't have this bloodline technique, I would only be able to escape upon seeing you. However, my current cultivation level has already reached the 8th level of the Universe Night realm. Within my gigantic body, the majestic power of blood energy is even more terrifying. My true combat power is no weaker than that of a complete 9th level knight. However, you are merely a 7th level knight. You dare to say such words in front of me, the master of the stars, and even claim that you will kill me and steal my bloodline secret technique. The only thing you can rely on is that you are certain that I won't be able to last long with my current cultivation base and strength, right? At this point, the gigantic raging star ape's lips slowly curled into a sneer, revealing a strong sense of mockery. Without waiting for Xueqing and Hui Peng to regain their senses, they immediately launched a punch. Hong! Kacha! The power of this punch was too strong. The terrifying power of a half-step universe master was simply unimaginable. When the fist blasted out, cracking sounds rang out in the void. This was the mysterious Grand Mist Void, and not the outer space of the ancient desolate realms. It was tough to the extreme, but it still couldn't withstand the terrifying might of this punch. If that's the case, then today I will show you. The incomparably fierce and majestic punch whistled through the air. At this moment, Yi Xian's voice rang out again. With my current cultivation level of the Universe Night realm, how long can I last? Li! It's just a bluff. This level of power simply does not belong to you. This sovereign wants to see. How many times can you unleash a similar punch? The blood crystal gray rock raised its head and roared. At the same time the voice of the divine sense came out, the giant gray rock suddenly stirred. A low buzzing sound came. As it moved, some mysterious power seemed to appear in the void, causing double images to appear in the void. It was as if space was being folded. The distance between the blood crystal gray rock and the violent ape of stars instantly increased. Huge chunk. Originally, it was only a distance of 10 million miles, but now it had been extended by 10 times, reaching a distance of 100 million miles. 100 million miles, for a great battle between universe knights, was not considered very far. It was even within the close combat range. However, this distance was sufficient for the 7th rank Exalt Realm cultivators like Blood Qing and Grey Rock to avoid the terrifying punch of the violent starry sky ape. Phew! It spread its wings again. This time Xueqing and Grey Rock's figures retreated in the blink of an eye. Moreover, they moved tens of millions of miles away, causing the full-powered punch of the star violent ape to barely touch his left hand and fly away. Now it's my turn. I want to see if you've become a paper tiger after this punch is thrown out. After dodging the punch of the violent star ape, the blood crystal gray rock did not stop there. As the voice of the divine sense came out, a cold light flashed within his giant eyes. Then he quickly spread his wings again. Wang! Xiu xiu xiu! The low buzzing sound that had appeared before was heard again in an instant. The frequency was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. Along with it, there was a sharp sound breaking through the air. As the blood crystal gray rock flapped his wings, energy arrows shot out from between his two beaks. There were too many of them. They covered the sky and the earth, covering the space within millions of miles. These were not just ordinary energy arrows. When they were shot out by the blood crystal gray rock, they clearly carried the power of the law of space. The low buzzing sound that appeared at the same time as these energy arrows was proof of this. The energy arrows that covered the sky seemed to have directly passed through the void and teleported over. A moment ago they were still hundreds of millions of miles away from the violent star ape, but in the next moment they were already in front of him. They were only a few million miles away from the violent star ape. It had to be known that the violent star ape's body was already about 6 million miles long, which was larger than a giant planet. And now the energy arrows that covered a radius of more than 10 million miles had arrived only a few million miles away in the blink of an eye. In the void, it sounded quite far away, but in reality, to the violent star ape, this distance of several million miles was only a body's length. In the eyes of the blood crystal gray rock, he had used the spatial secret technique of his bloodline talent to send the energy arrows that covered the sky and earth to a body's length away from the violent star ape in an instant. With his huge and bloated body, it was absolutely impossible to dodge. If nothing unexpected happened, this attack would be enough to severely injure him. And the current violent star ape was clearly in a state of activating its bloodline secret technique. Once it was heavily injured, it would definitely be forced to withdraw from this state. In this way, with his cultivation of the Emperor realm, to the blood crystal gray rock, there was no doubt. He would be reduced to an ant. As these thoughts flashed through his mind, a complacent expression immediately appeared on the face of the blood crystal gray rock. The voice of the divine sense also revealed a mocking tone. Violent ape everything. It's time to end. You seem to be thinking too much. Just as he finished speaking, the voice of Yi Xian's divine sense rang out. It was also filled with a strong sense of ridicule and disdain. All of this is far from over, because this Star Lord suddenly changed his mind. Slowly play die. Swish. Swish. Before he could finish speaking, the violent star ape had already waved its hand. In an instant, a weak sound of breaking through the air rang out. 2 rays of light shot out from his body as he waved his hand. It was the Shunnong cauldron and the Shunnong pestle. As soon as the former appeared, it immediately rushed towards the top of Yi Xian's head. Moreover, this time it appeared in its complete form. In the blink of an eye, it expanded explosively against the wind and actually exceeded 10 million kilometers, several times larger than the body of the violent star ape. At the same time, a large amount of 9-colored mist poured out from the mouth of the Shunnong cauldron. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped the violent star ape and protected its body. At the same time, the Shunnong pestle that was taken out with a wave of his hand directly rushed towards the right hand of the violent star ape. It quickly expanded and turned into a large black club that was 20 million kilometers long and was even thicker. Swish! Swish, swish, swish. Just at this moment, the countless energy arrows that seemed to have teleported through the void had finally arrived. They directly pierced into the dense 9-colored mist that was being poured out by the Shunnong cauldron. However, it did not have any effect on the violent star ape at all. Chapter 44-48. What? Shunnong cauldron? This is impossible. As Yi Xian took out the cauldron and suspended it above his head, it poured out endless 9-colored mist to protect his body. The attack that Xueqing Huipeng unleashed with all his might missed. All the energy arrows were disintegrated by the mist of Shunnong cauldron. This was a 7th-level knight. If it was before, Yi Xian wouldn't have been able to reach this level of power when using Shunnong cauldron. But now, on one hand, Yi Xian's cultivation level had surpassed his opponent's. On the other hand, the Shunnong strange flame in the cauldron had just evolved to the pinnacle 9-colored flame level. Because of this, the farmer god cauldron's power had also increased by a large margin. And at this moment, seeing this scene, Xueqing Huipeng was stunned for a moment before he exclaimed in shock. His voice was filled with shock and horror. He was, after all, a late-stage knight with extraordinary knowledge. He recognized Shunnong cauldron, this legendary treasure from the prehistoric era. Li, I can't accept this. With the appearance of Shunnong cauldron, Xueqing Huipeng lost all hope. With this cauldron, even if the power of the bloodline technique used by the space violent ape was weakened, and his cultivation level dropped to that of an emperor. However, as long as he hid within the Shunnong cauldron, Blood Red Eagle and Grey Rock would not be able to do anything to him. To break through the protective power of this legendary desolate ancient cauldron and forcefully kill him, one would need to be at least a universe master. What's more, the opponent was under the protection of Shunnong cauldron and wasn't injured at all. The bloodline technique used by the opponent wouldn't be weakened in a short time. This situation was so depressing that it made one's hair stand on end. The opponent had the protection of Shunnong cauldron, so no matter how he attacked, he wouldn't be afraid. On the other hand, his cultivation was already slightly weaker than the violent starry sky ape that had executed its bloodline secret technique. If he continued to stay here, the final outcome would be that he would only be on the receiving end of a beating. It was already meaningless. Li. With great unwillingness, Xueqing Huipeng raised his head and let out a roar. He flapped his wings and turned to escape. At the same time, his voice resounded again. Violent ape, don't be so smug. Although Shenong Cauldron is powerful, it's not impossible to break through. At least with your current level of cultivation, a universe master can do it. Wait. What he meant was that he was obviously planning to get 1 or 2 universe masters to deal with Yi Xian. Maybe this guy couldn't get a universe master, but if he was to leak the news of Shenong Cauldron, he could get 1 or 2 universe masters. Before he could turn around, the voice of the starry sky ferocious ape's divine sense had already sounded out. In the next instant, the faint sound of the air being torn apart resounded out. The starry sky ferocious ape that was 3 million kilometers in size actually directly teleported with the farmer god's treasured cauldron that floated high above its head. In the blink of an eye, it was already in front of the blood crystal gray rock's path. The distance between them was less than 5 million kilometers, which just happened to be within the range of the big-headed black cudgel's attack. Hong! A huge rumbling sound rang out. Almost at the same instant the teleportation ended. The right arm of the raging star ape was raised high. Without the slightest hesitation, it moved at an extremely fast speed and directly smashed the club at the base of the right wing of the blood cloud gray rock. Ayo! An incomparably mournful howl came out from the mouth of the blood-red gray rock. Its huge body suddenly staggered in the air. As it rolled, its right wing drooped down in an unnatural manner, as a ferocious bird. A late-stage venerable one actually let out a miserable howl like a wolf at this moment. Just this alone was enough to show how terrifying the power of this attack was. It was clear that this blood crystal gray rock was on the verge of going berserk. In fact, the reason why Yi Xian's staff smashed onto the base of the blood-colored gray rock's right wing was because he had deliberately done so. To Yi Xian, this 7th Order Knight was definitely the strongest opponent he'd ever encountered. Although Yi Xian's current battle strength was comparable to a Universe Knight at the pinnacle of the 9th Order, he was nearly 2 levels stronger than the blood-red gray rock. However, the opponent was a late-stage knight. He was also a great being from the Bird Clan who was skilled in speed and escaping. It could be said that even if Yi Xian had the upper hand, he wasn't completely confident that he would be able to kill the opponent today. Hence he could either not make a move. Once he made a move, the first thing he had to do was to cut off the opponent's ability to escape. Destroying his 2 wings was obviously the best choice. Wang! At that moment, after being hit by Yi Xian's stick and rolling for tens of millions of miles, Xueqing Huipeng finally stabilized himself. He didn't hesitate. He immediately flapped his wings and tried to escape. However, just as the familiar buzzing sound rang out, it came to an abrupt stop. The blood cloud gray rock's right G bone structure had clearly been broken. Although it wasn't a big deal and wasn't life-threatening, it was obviously impossible for him to escape in a short period of time. He could. Shio! The sound broke through the air again. Space Raging Ape's body flashed and teleported again. In the blink of an eye, he was beside Xueqing Huipeng. This time he appeared on the left. Without any hesitation, he swung his black stick and smashed it down. As for the landing point, it happened to be the root of Xueqing Huipeng's left wing. Hong! Ka-cha-cha! A huge roar sounded. Xueqing Huipeng's huge body rolled and flew away. In the blink of an eye, he was tens of millions of miles away. His left wing, which was fine a moment ago, was now hanging down unnaturally like his right wing. This attack, Raging Ape used more strength. When the black stick smashed down, a huge roar sounded. There was also the clear sound of bones breaking. Li? Raging Ape, you shameless! After being injured again, the blood-red gray Peng spat out an arrow of blood. The sound of divine senses immediately sounded, releasing endless sorrow. Both of his wings were crippled. He knew that this time he was finished. After losing his advantage in speed, he now had to face a Supreme Expert 9. With Space Raging Ape at the pinnacle, he didn't see any chance of survival. Howl! After 2 consecutive strikes, Xueqing Huipeng's wings were broken. Yi Xian's heart, which had been in his throat, finally settled down completely. As his heart relaxed, Space Raging Ape raised his head and let out a roar. He then turned to look at Xueqing Huipeng, who was more than 20 million miles away. His eyes shone fiercely. Didn't you say you were going to invite 1 or 2 universe masters to kill me? Now why aren't you running? Chapter 44-49. Violent Ape, don't push me too far. Looking at the ferocious space Violent Ape, who was dragging the big-headed black stick, walking slowly toward him, Blood Cloud Grey Rock shuddered. He tried to put up a strong front and shouted angrily, "Push me too far? You're the one who came looking for me today, aren't you?" Violent Ape looked at him with disdain, and his voice resounded through the space. "Why? Are you the only one who can come here and not allow me to kill you? Since you have the guts to come here, you should be mentally prepared to be killed. I don't care where you're from, but you better know where I'm from." As the violent Starry Sky Ape approached step by step, the Blood Cloud Grey Rock became increasingly uneasy. The light in its huge bloody eyes began to flicker. Even the murderous intent in his tone disappeared in an instant. It was as if he was persuading, patiently guiding Luofeng. "The Forbidden Land of Bloodsea, where I belong, is an intermediate supreme forbidden land. There are 2 universe masters guarding it, and one of them is even from my race. One of them is from my race. If you dare to kill me today, I'll definitely kill you one day. Violent Ape, I advise you not to make a mistake. Intermediate Supreme Forbidden Land? Universe Master? So what?" Unfortunately, these words didn't work on Yixian at all. Previously, his target was Undying Emperors, but now his target had risen to Universe Knights. Obviously, this wasn't the end. Soon, his hunting target would rise again, and he would reach the level of a Universe Master. Therefore, as far as Yixian was concerned, the words that Bloodqing and Huipeng had said at this moment were, at most, the first target he should lock onto after increasing the level of his next target. Bloodsea Forbidden Land? I'll remember it. Don't worry. Soon, I'll go there personally and take the body and blood of that elder of the same generation as you. As for now, this battle has been going on for too long. It's time to end it all. Hong. Long. Long. When the voice was heard, Violent Ape was still 20 million miles away. However, at this moment, his eyes gleamed coldly, and his shoulders weakened. He closed the distance between him and Blood Cloud Grey Rock to only 1,000 miles. About 10,000 miles at this moment, the Starry Sky Ferocious Ape's right arm swung up high once more before smashing down fiercely. And the location that the shockingly huge cudgel had locked onto was actually the Blood Cloud Grey Rock's huge head. "No. Bao Yuan, you will regret this." Seeing this, the light of despair flashed in Xueqing's eyes. He raised his head and let out an incomparably shrill howl. He was filled with hatred and anger. Boom! PFFF. Almost in the next instant, the big-headed black cudgel that was swung up high landed directly on the Blood Cloud Grey Rock's head, and a huge boom sounded in an instant. In the blink of an eye, the Blood Cloud Grey Rock's gigantic body exploded into a cloud of grey blood mist. It was as if the most violent hurricane had suddenly swept through this star field, causing ripples to appear in the void. Swish! Without any hesitation, Yixian immediately waved his hand, and an invisible force spread out from his body. In the blink of an eye, it had already enveloped the void space within a radius of 10 million miles, sweeping in all the grey blood mist that had just spread out. After absorbing it into his body, he immediately sent it into the Shunnong Cauldron, and threw it into the flame pool, at the bottom of the central region volcano in the space within the cauldron to begin the refinement of the blood essence. This Blood Cloud Grey Rock's power had already reached the 7th level of Universe Knight, and it was at the late stage of this level. At this moment, all the grey blood mist that had appeared after his body had exploded had been swept in, and not a single bit was left out. This way, when Yixian started the refinement later on, the final night blood essence that he would obtain would not be of the highest grade, but it would at least be of the highest grade. This would be extremely helpful for Yixian's subsequent refinement of the level 26 night level pill. Because of this, Yixian was extremely happy. When the blood essence of this Blood Cloud Grey Rock is successfully refined, I'll have 3 pieces of night blood essence in my hands. After waving his hand and putting away the big-headed black rod, Yixian's eyes gleamed as if he was deep in thought. He mumbled softly like he was sleep-talking. Although it's impossible to immediately start refining the level 26 night level pill after collecting 5 pieces of night blood essence, refining the level 26 night level pill wouldn't be possible. However, now that the level 25 night level pill has been refined, and my power has reached the 8th level of Emperor level Undying, I only need one more small breakthrough to be able to swallow the level 25 night level pill that I just refined not long ago and reach the night level in one fell swoop. This way, when I'm in the 8th form of 9 transformation demon ape, my power will reach the level of a first level universe master, and it'll be easier for me to kill universe knights. Without a doubt, by then it won't take me long to collect 5 or even 10 pieces of night blood essence. From the looks of it, the deduction of the perfect pill formula for the level 26 treasure pill can't be delayed. Previously, I only planned to stay here for about 3 months to derive part of the pill formula. After that, I'll leave immediately after Old Pig comes out of seclusion. When I have time in the future, I'll complete the derivation. But now, it seems that the plan needs to be adjusted slightly. No matter what, I have to complete the derivation of the perfect level 26 treasure pill formula in one fell swoop. At this point, Yixian didn't hesitate anymore. He wiped away all traces of the battle and the aura left behind by the blood cloud gray rock. Then, with a flash of his body, he rushed to the mouth of the cauldron that was shrouded in 9-colored fog and sat down cross-legged. After adjusting his state of mind, Yixian quickly collected his thoughts and combined with the engulfing system in his body. He pushed the system's derivation and derivation ability to the maximum, and with the help of his 8th level universe night level godly spirit, he started to derive the level 26 treasure pill formula. He started to derive the perfect level 26 pill formula. Previously, Yixian had spent close to a year deriving the perfect level 25 treasure pill formula. This time, on one hand, Yixian's power had reached the late-stage universe night level, and his godly spirit was much stronger. On the other hand, it was because he had already derived part of the perfect level 26 treasure pill formula. Therefore, this time he only used around 6 months to successfully deduce the perfect pill formula for the level 26 supreme pill. The perfect level 26 treasure pill formula? I finally completed it successfully. Chapter 4450. Xiu. With a wave of his hand, Yixian stood up and stored the farmer god cauldron into his body. Then, he broke free from the farmer god 8th transformation state and returned to his 30-meter-tall ape form. His cultivation base also fell back to the peak of the 9th order monarch. At this time, a familiar throbbing came from his body. It was the movement of the Yen Luo. Yixian's heart moved. With a wave of his hand, he directly took out the Yen Luo. Xiu! With a faint sound of breaking through the air, the treasure luo whizzed out and expanded in the wind. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a 100-meter-long pink silk. It slowly rose and fell in the void in front of Yixian, revealing an extremely powerful and mysterious aura. Almost at the same time when the treasure luo was taken out, Fairy Zixia's voice sounded. It was gentle and pleasant. Hearing it, one's bones instantly felt lighter. Master, fortunately, we did not disappoint you. Recently, our cultivation base has risen again. We have recovered to the immortal emperor realm. Have I finally become an immortal emperor? Yixian's eyes flashed, and a look of surprise appeared on his face, because this meant that from now on, he would have 7 empress concubines by his side. He would no longer be a half-step emperor. The gap between a real emperor and a half-step emperor was obviously huge. To have 7 beautiful empress concubines by his side meant a lot to Yixian. This was definitely an unparalleled weapon for showing off. The 7 desolate era beauties in the Yen Luo were Corpse Ancestor Han Ba, Corpse Ancestor Ho Qing, Desolate Lightning Mother, Mysterious Lady of the Ninth Heaven, Nine-Tailed Fox, Celestial Phoenix Maiden, and Fairy Zixia. In the distant Desolate Era, the 7 of them were known as the 7 Great Beauties of the Desolate Era. Later, an unprecedented war broke out, and the 7 Great Beauties all fell. However, each of them had a strand of consciousness that was sealed within the Desolate Era's heavy artifact, the Smoke Net. Countless years later, this treasure was obtained by Yixian, and during that time they experienced all sorts of dangers. Now, the 7 great gorgeous cultivators of the Primordial Era, who were once renowned throughout the Primordial Era, had finally reunited once more. Moreover, all of them had condensed their bloodline true bodies of this lifetime and successfully lived a second lifetime. Moreover, Even their cultivations had recovered to the titled Emperor realm. All of this was related to Yi Xian's almost unlimited supply of all kinds of top-grade cultivation resources. It could be said that without him, it was hard to say whether the 7 great beauties would be able to reconstruct the treasure body of this life. Even though there was a strand of remnant soul left behind, it didn't have a physical body. Facing the coming Great Desolate Era, it probably wouldn't be able to survive at all and would eventually fall in this era. Of course, the 7 great alluring cultivators were all almighty existences in the Desolation Era. Although they had regained their Emperor realm cultivation, they were still a long way from the peak of their previous lives. After the Emperor realm, it was the Universe Knight realm, then the Universe Master realm, then the Universe Supreme realm. After that, they could reach the Desolate Era realm. From the Emperor realm to the Desolate Era realm, there were 4 more realms. It could be said that the 7 great beauties still had a long way to go before they could recover to their previous life's peak. However, to Yi Xian, none of this was a problem. This was because the current him had already evolved the Shenong Strange Flame within the Shenong Cauldron to the peak of the 7-colored flame. The secret alchemy technique had also been perfected, so he could refine the legendary 9-colored divine medicine. Even the 8-colored divine medicine that he'd refined before was far from being able to compare to the 9-colored divine medicine. With a large amount of 9-colored divine medicine, Yi Xian believed that the cultivation of the 7 great beauties would definitely be able to quickly recover to the peak of their previous lives. Of course, during this process, Yi Xian's own cultivation base would also increase rapidly. In fact, although the current Yi Xian was cultivating step by step, his speed had already surpassed that of the 7 great empress concubines who had only recovered their cultivation from their previous lives. Xiao! Xiao xiao xiao! At this time, along with a faint sound of breaking air, 7 figures rushed out from the Yanluo and lined up in front of Yi Xian. These were the 7 great beauties who were famous in the Desolate Era. No matter which one of them, they were all existences with top-notch appearances and figures. What was even more eye-catching was that the 7 great beauties all had different temperaments. At this time, at a glance, it was as if it was not enough to grow a pair of eyes. This was not the first time Yi Xian saw the 7 great beauties gathered together. Even when he was in the demon dragon's carriage, the 7 great beauties had gathered around him and served him for a period of time. But at this time he still could not control himself. His heartbeat was faintly accelerating, and even his breathing was rapid. His nose seemed to be faintly itchy, and blood seemed to be flowing out of his nose at any time. "Greetings, master." Their figures suddenly appeared, and the 7 great beauties smiled and bowed to Yi Xian at the same time, softly calling him master. Immediately after, they discovered Yi Xian's current cultivation strength. As a result, one soft cry after another sounded out like a tide. "Heavens, master, your cultivation strength. So fast, just now you just entered the Emperor realm. How long has it been?" "We only went into seclusion once, master. You are already at the peak of the 9th Order Emperor realm?" The cultivation strength of us 7 sisters had already reached the Desolate Era's almighty level in our previous life. In this life, the reconstruction of the treasure body is only to recover the cultivation of our previous life, and the speed is already very fast. I didn't expect Master's speed to surpass us by far. With such talent, you are indeed worthy of being our master. It seems that in this life, even if the chaos of the Desolate Era descends again, we sisters will have someone to rely on, and will not be like our previous life, dying with regret. We hope Master will pity us. Take pity on us. Puff! As they spoke, the 7 great beauties had already surrounded Yi Xian. One pinched him, one touched his waist, as if they did not believe that Yi Xian's cultivation strength had really reached the 9th Order Emperor realm, and they had to personally verify it. It was as if. Moreover, the 7 great beauties spoke pitifully, but between their eyebrows, there was a clear teasing light, and from time to time they would laugh coquettishly. There were even some who pursed their lips to hold back their laughter. This scene made Yi Xian suddenly feel a little pain in his liver, and his face turned purple, and he almost vomited a mouthful of old blood on the spot. Damn, he was actually teased by the 7 great beauties. This was simply, how could he endure it? Alright, stop fooling around, I know what you mean. In depression, Yi Xian speechlessly rolled his eyes, then waved his hand, and directly took out a large amount of 9-colored divine medicine from the sealed cave at the bottom of the volcano in the central region of the space inside the Shinnon cauldron. He divided it into 7 portions, and each portion was tens of thousands of cubic meters. This directly caused the batch of 9-colored divine medicine that Yixian had refined to be reduced by half, like a huge mountain peak, at least 1/5 of it. Swish! Swish, swish, swish. Chapter 44:51. See, this is a 9-colored godly medicine? That's right, 9 perfect colors. This is definitely a 9-colored godly medicine. Even in the prehistoric era, this was a top-tier medicine. Not only is it suitable for the ancient beings, but it's also suitable for the ancient supreme beings. Master, has your Shinnon strange flame evolved to the pinnacle of 9-colored flames? Otherwise, you would never be able to make a 9-colored godly medicine. With these 9-colored godly medicines, our recovery speed will increase tremendously. I believe it won't be long before we can break through from the initial stage to the peak emperor realm. It's even possible for me to become a universe knight. Luo Feng muttered to himself. Tens of thousands of cubic meters each of them. Oh, Master, you are so good to us. Hugs! Seeing the 7 canopies of the 9-colored divine medicine, the 7 girls all became excited. The most mischievous 9-tailed heavenly fox wrinkled her nose, opened her arms with tears in her eyes, and hugged Yixian Su. At this moment her arms were wide open, and her chest was high. If she really gave Yixian a bear hug? Cough, cough, cough. Thinking of this scene, Yixian immediately coughed, and his nose began to heat up. What a bunch of demons! He had to be careful at all times or he would fall into their trap. How embarrassing! All right, quickly keep these 9-colored godly medicines and enter the treasure Luo space to recover. Seeing the 7 girls looking at him and coughing, Yixian was speechless. Knowing that he was being teased again, he sighed and hurried to chase them away. Perhaps it was because the temptation of these 10,000 cubic meters worth of 9-colored godly medicines was too great. This time the 7 girls did not delay any longer. After making funny faces at Yixian, they waved their hands one after another and kept their 9-colored godly medicines. After which, they turned into streaks of light and rushed back into Yen Luo. Xiao! With a wave of his hand, Yixian kept Yen Luo. Then, as if thinking of something, he immediately sent another 5,000 cubic meters worth of 9-colored godly medicines into the space of Mo Long's imperial carriage. Inside, the old fox ferret was still in seclusion. Yixian sent in 5,000 cubic meters worth of 9-colored godly medicines, which was enough for him to break through to the emperor realm. Brother Baoyuan, I didn't expect you to have such good luck with women. Just as he finished all this, a figure suddenly appeared in the distance. It was Old Pig Demon. At this moment, this old man had a shifty look on his face. One look, one could tell he was up to no good. Calculating the time, he should have broken through 2 to 3 months ago. After coming out of seclusion, he stayed nearby to protect Yixian. However, just now when Yixian stepped out of the Shinnon cauldron, this old man did not appear immediately. He was most likely hiding in the distance, peeping at Yixian being teased by the 7 beauties. Thinking of this, Yixian gloomily glared at the old pig spirit. Seeing that his cultivation had indeed successfully broken through, and was now at the first level of the universe sovereign, he nodded his head in satisfaction. After which he said, "You have already broken through. There is no reason for this Star Master to stay in the Emperor realm. Let's stay here for a while longer. After breaking through to the Night realm, we shall continue on our journey." After which, Yixian did not hesitate at all. He did not even bother with Old Pig Demon anymore. He immediately flew away and headed towards the abandoned star where Old Pig Demon had been in seclusion. With a flash of his body, Yixian rushed into the core of this abandoned star and sat down cross-legged, preparing to break through. Xiao! Xiao, xiao, xiao! Very quickly, the sound of air breaking rang out one after another. They were all resources that Yixian took out from the undying world within his body. This included a 9-colored ball with a diameter of 1,000 meters. There was a strange fragrance that was so thick that it made one's hair stand on end. This liquid ball was filled with 9-colored godly medicines. After which, he took out a large amount of other resources such as the 10 drops of all evil origin liquid. After which, Yixian activated the domain power of the Shinnon cauldron, and compressed it to the size of an infant's fist. It looked bright red, just like a strange pill that was extremely fragrant and sweet. With a wave of his hand, he swallowed this blood-red pill that was compressed from a large amount of resources. Without any hesitation, after finishing all this, he waved his hand and took out the Shan-known cauldron. With one step, he arrived at the entrance of the cauldron, which was shrouded in 9-colored fog. Without hesitation, he closed his eyes again and sat down cross-legged, starting a new round of breakthrough. Walala! Almost in the next instant, the sound of chains covering the sky and earth rang out loudly in Yixian's body. This time there was only one shackle that appeared in his body. As for what happened next, Yixian was already familiar with it. He immediately activated the huge river of energy that had just formed in his body, and began to circulate it in the hundreds of meridians in his treasure body, accumulating energy. In the end, when all the energy was refined, the chain broke with a single impact. As this extremely thick shackle chain finally broke completely, the anticipated system notification sounded in Yixian's mind very quickly. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through the realm of the ancient Dongshu mantra. Current realm. Great Circle of the 9th stage of Immortal Emperor. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through the realm of the physical body qi and blood. Current realm. Great Circle of the 9th stage of Immortal Emperor. With this breakthrough, Yixian's combat power rose again, and finally reached the pinnacle of the Immortal Emperor level. Before this, his original body strength was only at the 8th stage of Immortal Emperor level. Once he activated the power of the ancient demon ape bloodline in his body, he could instantly reach the 9th stage of Immortal Emperor level. Great Circle of the 9th stage of Immortal Emperor level. If he were to use the 9 transformations of the demon ape again and reach the 8th transformation, his battle prowess would immediately soar to the 8th level of the Universe Sovereign Realm. But now, after activating the demon ape bloodline in his body, Yixian would instantly possess the strength of a first-level venerable. If he used the 9 demon ape bloodline ability again, and directly entered the 8th stage of Immortal Emperor level, his peak combat power would reach the 9th stage of Universe Knight level. This was already the pinnacle of the Universe Knight level, so his combat power would soar by a large margin. However, this was obviously not the end, because with his current strength, if he took another step forward, he could instantly break through to the next level. The extent of the increase in his combat power could be said to be terrifying. Therefore, Yixian's target for this breakthrough was to reach the Universe Knight level in his original body's normal state. Xiao! Xiao, xiao, xiao! Without any hesitation or intention to rest, Yixian waved his hand again and took out the second batch of cultivation resources that he had prepared beforehand from the Undying World and the internal space of the Shan-known Cauldron. Chapter 4452. Hong! As he swallowed the second batch of top-notch resources, there was an earth-shattering roar within Yixian's body. There was also the terrifying sound of chains. This time Yixian wanted to break through the shackles of a knight, so the sound was naturally different. An extremely thick shackle chain appeared at the chest area of his physical body, and the sound of chains rattling could be heard continuously. This thick chain represented the level of a knight. Once it was torn apart, Yixian would instantly become an emperor-level undying. Very quickly, as he urged the huge river of energy within his body, he endured the intense pain he had never experienced before and continued to break through. Finally, there was a loud clang, and the shackle chain at the chest area of his body was finally broken. The anticipated system notification sounded in Yixian's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for making a breakthrough in the realm of the ancient cave void technique. Current realm. Level 1 Universe Knight. Ding! Congratulations to the host for making a breakthrough in the realm of your physical body energy. Current realm. Level 1 Universe Knight. With this breakthrough, once Yixian activated the Devil Ape bloodline within his body, he would instantly possess the combat power of a Level 2 Universe Knight. If he entered the 8th transformation of the Devil Ape, his peak combat power would reach the combat power of a Level 1 Universe Master. Finally, he would have the combat power of a Universe Master in advance. This way, Yixian would even be qualified to enter the Intermediate Supreme Forbidden Area. After all, in the 8th transformation of the Devil Ape, his cultivation level would only be a Level 1 Universe Master. However, with the addition of the terrifying power of blood within his gigantic body, Yixian's true combat power would not be weaker than a level 2 universe master. Even if it was the third level of this realm, he could still fight them head-on and barely avoid defeat. In other words, the current Yixian would not be afraid of a universe master at the initial stage. As long as he did not meet a terrifying great being at the middle stage, he would be able to do whatever he wanted. Li. The significance of this breakthrough was too great. Yixian raised his head and let out an incomparably excited and joyful howl. With a wave of his hand, he put away the Shun-known cauldron and stepped out of the star core. His entire body was glowing with a purple gold light. From this moment on, he was a universe knight. Boom! Rumble. Almost in the next moment, a large number of black tribulation clouds surged from the void of the universe outside the star with life under his feet. After all, this was the heavenly tribulation of a venerable. It was no small matter. Therefore, the number of heavenly tribulation clouds was so large that it made one's hair stand on end. They covered the entire planet. It was as if there was a second layer of black atmosphere outside the original atmosphere. However, Yixian was not afraid at all. What he wanted now was to be baptized by a wave of thunder tribulation. Yixian did not take the thunder tribulation seriously at all. Roar! He raised his head and roared. At this moment, his hair fluttered in the wind. The aura in his body was completely activated. His entire person was like the hottest human-shaped star. Endless light was blooming from his body treasure, passing through the 1.08 billion pores on the surface of his body. It shot out. Gotcha! An ear-piercing crisp sound was heard. The heavenly tribulation clouds in the sky surged even more violently in an instant. After a short breath, an incomparably thick purple gold lightning struck down. Rai-D seal! With a wave of his hand, Yixian let out a soft cry. The Rai-D seal hanging above his sea of consciousness shot out. Li! In the next moment, the Rai-D seal flew up. An incomparably high-pitched howl resounded from the Emperor Seal. This was the thunder spirit of the Emperor Seal rejoicing. To it, this kind of venerable tribulation was the best opportunity to temper itself. The thunder spirit of the Emperor Seal had long broken through to the Emperor level. And this time, after sensing the powerful aura of the venerable tribulation, the thunder spirit of the Emperor Seal rejoiced again. Because this lightning tribulation wasn't only Yixian's fortuitous encounter, it was also his fortuitous encounter. After the baptism of the lightning tribulation, the Thunder Emperor Seal would become even more powerful, and the thunder spirit of the Emperor Seal would most likely break through to become an immortal emperor. The benefits were so great that it was naturally incomparably excited. It had a feeling that it could not hold back and wanted to rush out. Still the same old rules. There are still 3 waves of purple gold lightning in the venerable tribulation. This Star Master only needs the last wave. The first 2 waves will be left to you and the Emperor Seal. With a faint smile, Yixian's firm voice came out of his mouth as he distributed the 3 waves of thunder tribulation that were about to descend above his head. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, the first wave of Emperor Tribulation lightning above his head had already struck down. Although it fell towards Yixian's head, it did not leak out at all. It was all absorbed by the Rai-D seal. Li. This time, the thunder spirit of the Emperor Seal was satisfied enough. Once again, the thunder spirit of the Emperor Seal let out a joyful cry. At this time, in the sky above his head, a second loud crackling sound came. This time, a purple gold lightning that was thicker than the previous one, reaching a height of 300 meters, instantly rushed over. Facing this wave of thunder tribulation, Yixian still did not move. With his hands behind his back, he let the Rai-D seal above his head absorb the second wave of lightning. Almost at the next moment, an even more joyful and tyrannical cry came from the Emperor Seal, revealing a half-step Emperor-level aura. This time, although the thunder spirit of the Emperor Seal did not directly break through to the next realm, it was almost there. After a period of digestion, it would definitely break through. Gotcha! The last wave of tribulation lightning quickly struck down. Its power was even more terrifying. Although it was still purple-gold in color, its diameter had increased by more than 10 times, giving people the feeling that it was going to destroy the heavens and earth. Towards this, Yixian was still calm and fearless. After curling his lips, He waved his hand and kept the Rai-D seal into his body. Immediately after, his figure flashed, and he directly rushed towards the terrifying tribulation cloud above his head that enveloped the endless void. Screech! Under the agitation of his emotions, the violent ape let out a long howl. Without dodging or dodging, his figure shot out amidst the violent howls and charged head-on. In the blink of an eye, he entered the tribulation lightning and was completely submerged. Rumble! This scene was too shocking. Within the extremely vast violet gold tribulation cloud, numerous terrifying explosions resounded incessantly from the beginning until the end. The vast void within a radius of tens of millions of miles was completely enveloped by the sea of purple gold lightning. Even the galaxy was trembling slightly, as if it could collapse at any time. This wave of thunder tribulation raged for dozens of breaths before the vast sea of lightning above his head finally disappeared completely. The vast void of tens of millions of miles was thus cleared. Whoosh! A faint sound of breaking through the air rang out. In the next moment, Yixian walked out from the void high in the sky. There was not a single trace on his body, but there was not a single wound on his treasure body. It was shining brightly, exuding an endless aura of a venerable, majestic in all directions. Chapter 44-53. That's right, I am from the human race. Why is there a problem? With a wave of his hand, a purple gold robe appeared on Yixian's body. Stars were evolving on it and life force was disappearing and disappearing. He gave off an endless night energy. At that moment, even if he was just standing in the void space, he gave off an invisible aura. He had the temperament of a master. Damn! You humans are so pretentious. Seeing this, Old Pig Spirit looked down at his own black-skinned pig head. It was so wretched. Old Pig Spirit rolled his eyes and said, "We are all universe knights, but why are you so good-looking? Why don't you have a good temperament?" "But I Old Pig am." Yixian suppressed his laughter and shook his head solemnly. He sighed. "Can't help it. This is the difference between a human and a pig." Old Pig was so angry that he kept stomping his feet. He raised his head and let out an angry roar, but he didn't dare rush up to Yixian to reason with him. This was because he knew that even though Yixian was the same as him and had the strength of a level 1 universe knight, he still had that mysterious bloodline ability that he hadn't used yet. Once it was used, he would transform into a terrifyingly huge space-raging ape, and his power would soar by a huge realm. Thinking about this, Old Pig was shocked. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Brother, you are now a universe knight. Does that mean that once you activate the bloodline ability in your body, you will instantly have the terrifying power of a universe master?" This time Yixian nodded casually. "Indeed, but it is only a universe master. It is nothing." Pooh! Old Pig suffered another 10,000 points of damage. He had just broken through to Universe Knight, and now he could instantly possess the terrifying power of a universe master. How could he be so shameless as to say that it was nothing? This was simply a beast. That's not right. After a while, Old Pig seemed to have thought of something. He turned to Yixian and said, "Since you are from the human race, why do you have that terrifying bloodline ability? In fact, even the space-raging ape doesn't have it. Have you heard of the blood slaughter lion? My 9 transformations of the demonic ape was derived from the 9 transformations of the berserk lion clan." Yixian nodded and continued, "However, the blood slaughter lion's 9 berserk lion transformations divine ability can only be maintained for a certain period of time. Once it is injured, it will fall out of its divine ability state. However, after this Star-Lord obtained the 9 berserk lion transformations divine ability, through my heaven-defying deduction abilities, I forcibly modified and perfected this divine ability. Not only is it compatible with the devil ape bloodline that this Star-Lord obtained by chance, it has even reached perfection. There is a time limit to the divine ability. As long as you don't die, you can always maintain the divine ability state. There's actually such a good thing." Hearing this, the pig spirit was so excited that his eyes turned green. The bloodthirsty lion is a powerful ancient species. It is said that during the War of the Ancients, there was a powerful lion that had the terrifying cultivation of a supreme ancient being. However, their bloodline divine ability, the 9 berserk lion transformations, is indeed, as you said, not perfect. Brother, you are really a monster. You forcibly modified the bloodline divine ability of another species. Not only did you make it compatible with your own body and bloodline, you even perfected it and made it reach perfection. Since you have this ability, why not change it from the current 9 transformations of the demonic ape to the 9 transformations of the demonic pig? Since we are brothers, let me teach you. As he spoke, the pig spirit did the same thing again. With saliva dripping from his mouth, he moved closer to Yixian like a pig. He stood up on his hind legs and was about to give him a bear hug. Stop! Yixian's face turned green as he quickly stopped the pig spirit. After pondering for a moment, he continued, "This matter is not completely impossible. Forget it, for the sake of the primordial porcupine, let's give it a try. It just so happens that you can directly pass it to him in the future. However, I have only comprehended the 8th transformation of the 9 transformations of the demonic ape. If I want to change it to the 9 transformations of the demonic pig, I will need to fully comprehend the current 9 transformations of the demonic ape. Therefore, you can only wait for a while. When I fully comprehend the 9 transformations of the demonic ape, I will naturally be able to help you with the 9 transformations of the demonic pig. But let me say this first, I will only help you deduce the first 3 transformations. You will have to figure out the rest yourself. No problem. The first 3 transformations will increase my combat power by 1 level. Coupled with the additional level of combat power from activating the 9 transformations of the demonic pig, this will be the 4th level. TSK, half a realm. I am satisfied. I will slowly figure out the rest in the future. Seeing that Yixian had agreed, Old Pig was so excited that he jumped up and down. After that, he changed the topic and looked like he was about to pounce on Yixian. Brother, why don't we start now? You have already comprehended the first 8 transformations, and only the 9th is left. Since you will comprehend it sooner or later, why don't you start now? Old Pig will protect you. That's fine. Now that I have become a knight and activated the 8th transformation, I will have the power of a universe master. With the power of my godly spirit at this level coupled with... At this point, Yixian made a decision. It will take at most half a month to deduce the final 9th transformation. Without hesitation, he activated the bloodline ability of the 9 transformations of the demonic ape and displayed it to the 8th transformation. Hong! There was a loud rumble, and in the blink of an eye Yixian transformed into a 30-zhang tall space-raging ape. Then his body expanded again, and in half a breath he reached a height of 6 million miles. And the aura emanating from his body had reached the level of a first-level universe master. Seeing this, Old Pig's expression changed drastically, and he retreated in shock. In the blink of an eye, he was tens of millions of miles away. Even though he was already a universe knight, he still didn't dare to face the terrifying power of a universe master head-on. At the end of the cultivation level, the difference of a small level was like the difference between heaven and earth, not to mention that the difference between him and Yixian was an entire realm. At this moment, as Old Pig retreated into the distance with an expression of envy and fear, Yixian sat down cross-legged in the void space and closed his eyes. Cooperating with the devouring system in his body, he displayed the ultimate transformation of the 9 transformations of the demonic ape bloodline ability. Deduce. The power of a universe master's godly spirit was indeed terrifying. If it had been before, Yixian would have needed at least a year to deduce the bloodline ability of the 9th transformation. But now it only took him 13 days. After 13 days, Yixian opened his eyes, and there was a flash of surprise in the depths of his eyes. Chapter 44:54. The next moment, Yixian's eyes gleamed coldly. Without hesitation, he raised his head and roared. 9 transformations of demonic ape. 9th transformation. Pung! As soon as he finished speaking, a huge explosion sounded out. In the blink of an eye, Yixian's body expanded explosively. His speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. The power in his body was rolling like a roaring river. His limbs and bones were surging with an endless amount of ferocity. Moreover, a strand of an unimaginably powerful and terrifying aura surged out from it. In less than a tenth of a breath of time, its figure that had already attained a height of 3 million kilometers had expanded at a horrifying speed, and it expanded explosively by 10 times once more. Visible to the naked eye, he had already reached a height of 30 billion feet. That was 60 million miles. Moreover, at the same time that his body expanded, The cultivation aura emanating from Yixian's body also rose at the same speed. In half a breath of time, he had already gone from the first level of the Universe Master to the second level of the Universe Master. Second level of a Universe Master. If one were to include the 60 million miles huge body of Yixian's ninth transformation, the current him was equivalent to a third level of a Universe Master. A Universe Master at the beginning stage was definitely an invincible being. Even a Universe Master at the fourth level would be able to fight him head-on, and he would barely be able to avoid defeat. Oh my god! This scene fell into the eyes of Old Pig Demon, who had already retreated tens of millions of miles away. In an instant, he let out a cry of surprise and retreated tens of millions of miles. As Yixian executed the ninth transformation of demonic ape, his body, which was originally only 6 million miles, suddenly expanded by 10 times, reaching a height of 60 million miles. During this process of expansion, there were 2 abandoned stars along the way, and they were crushed by Yixian's terrifying body. After reaching a height of 60 million miles, Yixian, who was originally very far away from Old Pig Demon, closed in an instant. The distance between them was only a few million miles. This was simply too dangerous. If Old Pig Demon had been a few million miles closer, he would have been crushed by Yixian's rapidly expanding body. If that was really the case, even if he did not instantly turn into fine cosmic dust like the 2 abandoned planets that were crushed just now, he would still be seriously injured on the spot. After recovering from the shock, Old Pig Demon quickly rushed back, and his face was filled with excitement. Brother Violent Ape, congratulations! You finally completely mastered the bloodline ability of 9 transformations of demonic ape. Halfway through his speech, his eyes slowly turned green. He licked the corner of his mouth and said with a bashful face, "Why don't you start deducing now and help me make the 9 transformations of the demonic pig? I just need to master the first 3 transformations. It shouldn't be too difficult, right?" Yixian stared at him, and his eyes, which were as huge as shooting stars, scared Old Pig Demon so much that he retreated quickly. Yixian quickly closed his eyes and unleashed the derivation ability of the swallowing system in his body to the fullest. In addition, he now had the terrifying godly consciousness of a second-level Universe Master. He unleashed it together and started to use 9 transformations of demonic ape as a blueprint to deduce the so-called 9 transformations of demonic ape. Maybe it was because Yixian's godly consciousness power was too terrifying as a Universe Master. And with the thorough comprehension of 9 transformations of demonic ape, he had completely comprehended the bloodline ability of 9 transformations of demonic ape. Hence, even if he were to change this bloodline ability to the 9 transformations of demonic ape to suit the race of space porcupines for Yixian, it actually went extremely smoothly as well. It only took 2 days for the basic prototype of 9 transformations of demonic ape to take shape. Another day was spent, and Yixian deduced the first transformation of demonic ape. The second transformation took 3 days. Finally, it took another 4 days for the third transformation of demonic ape to be successfully deduced. From beginning to end, it only took him 10 days to deduce the first 3 transformations of 9 transformations of demonic ape. At this point, Yixian stopped and opened his eyes. The following 6 transformations would require more and more time to deduce, and Yixian didn't have the time to do it for him. He had already paved the way for Old Pig, and the rest of the derivation would be done by him. Very quickly, when he saw Yixian open his eyes, the eyes of the Old Pig spirit, who had been waiting in the air for a long time, lit up. He raised his 4 hooves and immediately rushed over. His face was filled with a brilliant smile, and the saliva at the corner of his mouth was dripping non-stop shio. Without waiting for him to speak, Yixian waved his hand and shot a ray of light directly into Old Pig's glabella. This ray of light contained the outline of 9 transformations of demonic ape, as well as the essence of the first 3 transformations. Howl! As the ray of light shot into Old Pig's glabella, Old Pig immediately roared excitedly. Without hesitation, he sat down in the void space. This was clearly the rhythm of comprehending immediately. Seeing this scene, Yixian broke free from the Devil Ape's 9th transformation with a thought and returned to the appearance of a 30-meter-tall starry sky berserk ape. The strength of a second-level Universe Master within his body also fell back to the second level of the Venerable Realm. Yixian didn't leave. He stayed in the void space in the distance to protect Old Pig. Time passed slowly, and in just half a day, Old Pig opened his eyes. Howl! 9 transformations of demonic ape. With excitement, he raised his head and roared, directly activating the bloodline power of 9 transformations of demonic ape that he had just comprehended. In an instant, his huge body, which was originally 30 million meters tall, shrank to a size of 30 meters in the blink of an eye, turning into a mini black pig. However, although his body size had shrunk, his original power of a first-level Universe Master had increased by 1 level, reaching the current second-level Universe Master. This was the uniqueness of activating this bloodline power. In the beginning, no matter how big your body size was, you would shrink to a size of 30 meters. This was a preparation for the subsequent 9 transformations to strengthen the foundation. 9 transformations of demonic ape. First transformation. Old Pig didn't continue. He roared furiously and continuously. 9 transformations of demonic ape. Second transformation. 9 transformations of demonic ape. Third transformation. 3 transformations in succession. With each roar, Old Pig's body immediately increased by 10 times. From 30 meters tall, he first grew to 300 meters, then 3,000 meters, and finally stopped at 30,000 meters. Compared to his previous size of 30 million meters, his body size of 30,000 meters was indeed very inconspicuous, but in fact, the power in his body had increased by 3 small levels. Now, he had reached the 5th level Universe Master. Previously, he was just a beginner Universe Master, but now, in the blink of an eye, he had reached the intermediate Universe Master level. This change made Old Pig wild with joy. He raised his head and roared furiously. At that moment, he was in high spirits and was in high spirits. Brother Baoyan, this feels so good. I've never felt so good in my entire life. After a while, the Old Pig finally stopped. He shook his head and sighed. I didn't know how long it would take me to break through to the next level. I didn't expect that I would be able to break through to the next level in just a few breaths' time. This is simply a dream. Chapter 44-55. Like Voracious Wolf Forbidden Land, Green Dome Forbidden Land was also a beginner Supreme Forbidden Land, and there were 2 Universe Knights guarding Green Dome Forbidden Land as well. Although one was a middle-stage Universe Knight and the other was a late-stage Universe Knight, they were extremely powerful. If it had been before, Yi Xian and Old Pig together might not have been able to kill them. However, now that Yi Xian had the power of a Universe Master, it was no longer a problem. However, before that, there's one more thing to solve, and that's the Subblood Greedy Wolf in Voracious Wolf Forbidden Land. After making the decision, Yi Xian turned to Old Pig and said, "This Subblood Greedy Wolf is only a 5th stage Universe Knight. Killing it now is just a matter of convenience." Just as he finished speaking, Old Pig broke free from the 3rd transformation of Demonic Pig, but he was still in the state of activating the bloodline of 9 transformations of Demonic Pig. Hence, his body size was the same as Yi Xian's, which was about 30 meters tall, and both of them were 2nd stage Universe Knights. 2 2nd stage Universe Knights walking side by side in the void space were absolutely domineering, and no one dared to provoke them. What's more, once Yi Xian used the 9th transformation of the 9 transformations of the demonic ape, his cultivation would instantly soar by a large realm, and he would possess the battle prowess of a 2nd-level Universe Master. Thus, the 2 of them didn't have any fear at all. Immediately, Yi Xian gave the order to the devouring system in his body, and used all his strength to deduce the perfect pill formula for the level 27 Sovereign Treasure Pill. Then, together with the Old Pig spirit, his body turned into a ray of light and shot towards the Greedy Wolf Forbidden Area. Within a year, Voracious Wolf Forbidden Land had regained its former peace. Although the void-ripping demonic tiger guarding the Forbidden Land had been killed, and they had lost 1 Universe Knight, the Subblood Greedy Wolf had turned his anger into motivation. In the past year, he had successfully broken through to the 6th level of the Night Realm. He was only 1 level away from becoming a late-stage Universe Knight. Although there was 1 less Universe Knight, there was still 1 late-stage Universe Knight guarding the Forbidden Land, which could barely guarantee the safety of Voracious Wolf Forbidden Land. The only thing missing was the lack of emperors. Previously, all the emperors in Voracious Wolf Forbidden Land had been killed by Yi Xian. Even though a year had passed, the Subblood Greedy Wolf had spent a large amount of top-tier resources on Yi Xian, and after Yi Xian left, More than 10 emperors had returned one after another. Among the emperors of the late-stage universe night. However, up until now, there was still not a single titled emperor in the Voracious Wolf Forbidden Zone. Other than the 6th-level Venerable Subblood Voracious Wolf, the strongest ones below him were merely the 3 emperors at the 9th level of the pinnacle. It would take at least several hundred years for this level of titled monarch strength to return to its original scale. However, a few hundred years was nothing to a forbidden zone of this level. The subblood greedy wolf wasn't in a hurry. He had calmed down and was very confident that the forbidden zone would recover. The only thing that made him feel uneasy was the mysterious being that had killed the Rift Demon Tiger, and all the other undyings in the forbidden area. He still didn't know anything about that being. He didn't even know if the other party would come back. Regarding this, he felt both uneasy and expectant. According to his judgment, the Starry Sky Violent Ape was only at the early stage of the Martial Highness realm. If it really came back, the Voracious Wolf Forbidden Area would be in chaos again. However, for the Subblood Voracious Wolf, not only would it help the space-splitting demonic tiger take revenge, he could even vent the hatred in his heart. Unfortunately, he didn't know where the enemy was, so he couldn't do anything about it. Shio! Shio! 2 faint whooshes were heard. Then, 2 rays of light rushed into the Voracious Wolf Forbidden Land from the universe void outside the Forbidden Land at an astonishing speed. After stopping abruptly in the central region of Greedy Wolf Forbidden Zone, 2 figures appeared. One was a black-skinned boar beast, and the other was a starry sky raging ape. They were both about 30 meters tall, and the auras emanating from their bodies indicated that they were both 2nd-level universe knights. The 2 figures that shot over and entered the Voracious Wolf Forbidden Area were Yi Xian and the Old Pig Spirit. At this moment, with the arrival of the 2 of them, because they did not deliberately conceal their cultivation auras, they instantly alarmed the entire Voracious Wolf Forbidden Zone. At this moment, countless beasts from the forbidden grounds of the Greedy Wolf Forbidden Area rushed out of the atmosphere of their respective planets and gathered in the air, eyeing Yi Xian and the Old Pig Spirit covetously. Although they had different levels of cultivation, they were all like ants in front of Yi Xian and Old Boar. The reason why they were so confident was obviously because the strongest person in the Forbidden Area, Subblood Wolf Tan, was currently inside the Forbidden Area, giving these fierce beasts endless confidence. A woo! Almost in the next instant, an extremely shrill howl of a wolf rang out from a gigantic ferocious beast star in the distance. Faintly, there was also a faint feeling of excitement in the howl of a wolf. Then a voice was heard. It was the voice of the Subblood Wolf. Raging Ape, I didn't expect you to dare to come back. TSK, you're only at the 2nd level of the Universe Night level? So, what can you do even if you have a helper? I made a breakthrough not long ago, and now I'm at the 6th level of the Universe Night level. Even if I was only at the 5th level of the Universe Night level before, I could still kill you 2 at the 2nd level of the Universe Night level at the same time, let alone now. You don't stand a chance. Awoo! As the voice of the Divine Sense finished speaking, a long mournful howl came from the giant star in the distance. A huge subblood greedy wolf rushed out of the star like a shooting star. The atmosphere of the entire planet was stirred up and surging. 6th level? This is quite interesting. This is already at the peak of the middle stage of the Venerable Realm, and is only 1 step away from the late stage of the Venerable Realm. Yi Xian nodded as he stood in the air. He sized up the roaring inferior blood-greedy wolf a few times before grinning. It seems that the quality of this venerable blood essence that I obtained this time is also extremely extraordinary. Even though it's far from the supreme grade, but it's not too far away. Roar! Raging Ape, are you courting death? How dare you provoke me at a time like this? Although the Subblood Wolf did not know what the venerable blood essence that Yi Xian was talking about was, it knew that it was definitely not something good and was most likely related to him. He was furious. He raised his head and roared again. Then, he leaped and pounced at Yi Xian with his claws raised. Roar! Chapter 4456. 9 Transformations of Demonic Pig. 3rd Transformation. Old Pig Demon entered the 3rd transformation of 9 transformations of Demonic Pig, and his body grew from 30 meters tall to 30 meters tall in the blink of an eye. Compared to the subblood greedy wolf in front of him, which was 30 million meters tall, Old Pig Spirit's body was indeed insignificant. However, the power within Old Pig Spirit's body had skyrocketed by 3 small levels. Today, he had already reached the 5th level of the universe Night realm. Previously he had just become a knight, but now, in the blink of an eye, he had reached the middle level of the knight. This change caused the Old Pig Spirit to be in high spirits. Although he was still a small realm weaker than the 6th-rank Venerable Subblood Greedy Wolf, the key was that this feeling of showing off made him feel extremely smug. In fact, the Subblood Greedy Wolf in front of them was indeed frightened by this scene. His body stopped abruptly in the void space of the Forbidden Land almost 100 million miles away, and his face was full of shock. He exclaimed, "9 transformations of demonic pig? What kind of bloodline power is this? I've never heard of it. It increased by 3 small levels in one go, and the 3rd transformation is already so powerful. Could it be that one transformation is 1 level higher?" Old Pig Demon was even more smug when he heard this. He raised his front hooves excitedly and stood up like a human. He said smugly, "Little wolf, now you know how powerful I am? Today, Old Pig Demon and Brother Violent Ape will King kill you. Awoo!" The Subblood Greedy Wolf was furious. He raised his head and let out a long howl, and the expression on his face became ferocious. However, he gradually calmed down. He looked at Yi Xian and Old Pig Demon and sneered. "So what if you're a 5th level knight? You won't be able to maintain your power for long. Even if you have it all the time, you're still 1 small level lower than me. Even if you have a 2nd level knight, you won't be my match." Don't tell me that Violent Ape also knows this bloodline power? Since it's the 9 transformations of demonic pig, how can he have the bloodline of demonic pig? That's right, this Star Lord doesn't know the 9 transformations of the demonic ape. Hearing these words, Yi Xian almost laughed out loud. However, the expression on his face remained cold as he indifferently glanced at the Subblood Greedy Wolf. Halfway through his sentence, he changed the topic and said, "But this Star Lord knows the 9 transformations of the demonic ape." Roar! 9 transformations of the devil ape. 8th transformation. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, a huge explosion was heard. In the blink of an eye, Yi Xian's body expanded explosively, his speed so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. The power in his body surged like a roaring river. His limbs and bones surged with boundless ferocity, and an unimaginably vast and terrifying aura surged out. In less than a tenth of a breath's time, its body, which was originally only 100 feet tall, began to rapidly expand at a speed that made one's hair stand on end. In the blink of an eye, it had already reached a height of 1 billion feet. In other words, it was 6 million kilometers. It was more than a gigantic star. In addition, at the same time that his body expanded, the cultivation aura emanating from Yi Xian's body also rose at the same speed. In half a breath of time, he had already gone from the 2nd level of the Venerable Realm to the 1st level of the Universe Master Realm. And this was the result of him only performing the 9 Devil Ape transformations bloodline power to the 8th transformation. Otherwise, if he had directly performed the 9th transformation, Yi Xian would instantly possess the terrifying combat power of a 2nd level Universe Master. But in fact, just being a 1st level Universe Master was enough to easily crush the Subblood Greedy Wolf. It was completely like a game. There's really the 9 Devil Ape transformations? And it actually reached the 8th transformation? Pooh! Seeing this scene, the Subblood Greedy Wolf's eyes widened in an instant. His face was full of shock, and he was so angry that he almost spat out blood on the spot. After being stunned for a while, he raised his head and let out a roar of grief and indignation. Cheating! This is blatant cheating. Why is it that one of you can perform the 9 Devil Ape transformations and the other can perform the 9 Devil Pig transformations, but I can't perform the 9 Devil Wolf transformations? These words really made people speechless. Even Yi Xian and Old Pig did not expect him to suddenly ask such a question, and they were stunned on the spot. And just as the 2 of them were stunned, they raised their heads and let out a long howl of grief and indignation. At this moment, the Subblood Greedy Wolf, who was 100 million miles away, suddenly turned around and dashed toward the void space in the distance without hesitation. Although he was shocked and indignant, he was still very clear about the situation in front of him. Old Pig could at most contend with him for a while, but Yi Xian was different. Now that he had the terrifying combat power of a universe master, even if it was just one punch, the subblood greedy wolf would not be able to withstand it. No matter how much grief and indignation he felt, it was not as important as his own life. Realizing this, he turned around and left. He wanted to take advantage of the moment when Yixian and Old Pig were unprepared to escape. Unfortunately, this was only his wishful thinking. Facing a universe master, who was only 100 million miles away in the starry sky, it was obviously too late for him to escape. You are clever, but unfortunately power determines everything. Today's deadlock is destined to be unsolvable. Violent Star Ape's eyes flashed, and with a flash of his body, he crossed the 100 million miles of void space and blocked the path of the subblood greedy wolf, who was in a hurry to escape. Hong! In the next instant, the violent ape of stars suddenly threw out a punch, and a huge rumbling sound came from the void. The subblood greedy wolf not far in front of it let out a wail, and its huge body, starting from its back, completely exploded. Facing the full force attack of Violent Star Ape, who had the combat power of a universe master, this subblood greedy wolf was like an ant. Even though it had the cultivation of a 6th level knight, it did not even have the chance to react. In the blink of an eye, its gigantic body exploded into a cloud of blood mist at the same time Bao Yuan's punch landed, and it spread out. Xiao! Without any hesitation, Yixian immediately waved his hand, and a sharp sound broke through the air. As he waved his hand, an incomparably majestic and invisible force spread out from the body of Violent Star Ape. In the blink of an eye, it had already covered the void space within a radius of 10 million miles. The dark red blood mist that had just spread out was swept up and absorbed into his body. He immediately sent it into Shenong Cauldron, and threw it into the flame pool, at the bottom of the volcano in the central region of the space within the cauldron. Xiao! After doing all this, Yixian's body flashed, and his huge body, which was 6 million miles long, shrank to a height of 30 meters in an instant. He turned into a flash of light and rushed into the giant star where the subblood greedy wolf had just appeared. After all, this guy was a 6th level knight, and there were many good things in his nest. Chapter 4457. Not long after leaving the Greed Wolf Forbidden Area, the Greed Wolf's flesh and blood that Yixian sent into the flame pool at the bottom of the volcano in the central region of the Shenong Cauldron had successfully condensed into a venerable one's blood essence. And the quality was quite good. Although it hadn't reached the supreme grade yet, it wasn't too far away. As a result, Yixian now had 4 venerable blood essences in his hands. These 4 pieces of blood essence came from the subblood greedy wolf and the space-tearing demon tiger of the Greedy Wolf Forbidden Area, the one-legged crow venerable of the Black Flame Forbidden Area, and the blood gray rock, who had the cultivation of a level 7 knight. Among them, the blood essence from the subblood greedy wolf and the blood gray rock had reached the upper grade level. Without a doubt, Yixian only needed one more piece of blood essence to start the refinement of a level 26 treasure pill. Furthermore, due to the existence of the 2 high-grade venerable blood essences, the inferior blood greedy wolf and the blood qing gray rock. This time, even if Yixian only used 5 venerable blood essences to refine, the level 26 treasure pills that would come out of the furnace would be more than 1. There was a 60% chance that he could refine 2 pills. But if it was only 2, Yixian wouldn't be satisfied. Although it seemed that he, his allies, and his subordinates only needed 2 level 26 pills at most in a short period of time because he and Old Pig Demon had both reached the Universe Knight level. However, Universe Knights were too difficult to kill, and there were too few of them. Yixian would either not refine the level 26 treasure pill, or try to maximize the benefits. Thus, he could only accumulate the blood essence of the knights to the maximum before starting the refinement. Only then could he ensure that the number of level 26 treasure pills he could refine would be maximized. In fact, he wasn't the only one thinking about this matter. Old Pig was thinking about it too. Previously, this old fellow was only at the emperor level. However, ever since he met Yixian in a short period of time, he had gone from the 6th level of the emperor level to the terrifying 1st level of the universe knight level. If it had been in the past, it would have taken at least 1,000 years. Even breaking through from Pinnacle Emperor level 9 to Universe Knight level 1 still depended on luck and luck. If the luck didn't come, it was possible to stay at the half-step Universe Knight level forever. Old Pig was very clear about all of this. It was precisely because of this that the current him was completely devoted to Yi Xian. Although he still called him brother in his subconscious, he had long since followed Yi Xian's lead. However, after tasting the sweetness of the level 25 treasure pill, Old Pig felt that he had unknowingly stepped on a path of no return. Now he was only a level 1 universe knight, but all he could think about was the level 26 treasure pill that would help him break through to the level of a universe master. This was normal how difficult it was to break through a level realm. But now one treasure pill could help him break through in just a few days. This kind of thing, after tasting it once, was basically impossible to quit. Now, if Old Pig had to wait for the opportunity to break through to the next realm with a calm heart after reaching the 9th order venerable realm, it would be more difficult than killing him directly. Brother Bao Yuan, you already have 4 pieces of blood essence of a knight, right? As the two of them traveled at top speed, Old Pig's expression was a bit uneasy. In the end, he couldn't hold it in and turned around to talk to Yi Xian. Refining 2 level 26 treasure pills requires 10 venerable blood essences. Does that mean, as long as we after killing 5 universe knights, Old Pig will get a level 26 treasure pill? You just broke through and you're only a level 1 universe knight, yet you're more anxious than me. Yi Xian was speechless. He rolled his eyes and continued, even if I give you a level 26 treasure pill now, you won't be able to use it before you reach the level 9 emperor level. Wouldn't it be easier to get it earlier? Hearing Yi Xian's tone, the Old Pig spirit didn't seem to have any intention of rejecting him. The Old Pig spirit instantly became excited and laughed mischievously. Besides, now that I see you occasionally undergo the 8th or 9th transformation, you'll be able to possess the terrifying strength of a universe master. This pig is really envious. It just so happens that the 9 transformations of the demonic pig is getting more and more difficult. It's obviously impossible to deduce the next 6 transformations in a short period of time. So, I can only make plans on my own cultivation base. At the end of his sentence, the Old Pig spirit's eyes flashed with a cold light. He stomped his hind hooves and continued. Don't worry, don't we already have 4 now? We only need 6 more. At most, we can go to 3 beginner supreme forbidden lands, and this matter will be settled. Other things aside, there are 2 pieces of blood essence of a knight waiting for us in the Blue Dome forbidden land ahead. Howl! With a roar, the Old Pig spirit seemed to have been injected with a shot of chicken blood in an instant. His figure dashed forward, and his speed instantly soared by 30%. He turned into a stream of brilliance and blasted forward. This old thing was obviously going to lose control for the level 26 treasure pill. Blue Dome Forbidden Land, like Voracious Wolf Forbidden Land, was also a beginner supreme forbidden land. There were also 2 universe knights guarding this forbidden land. One was in the middle stage and the other was in the late stage. They were extremely powerful. If it had been before, Yi Xian and Old Pig together might not have been able to guarantee that they could kill them. But now, not to mention Yi Xian, even Old Pig, who had the power of a 5th level knight under the 3rd transformation of demonic pig, couldn't wait. In fact, Blue Dome Forbidden Land wasn't close to Voracious Wolf Forbidden Land. It was hundreds of billions of miles away. However, Yi Xian and the Old Pig spirit didn't stop for even a moment. With their terrifying 2nd order venerable cultivation, they flew through the primordial chaos void, which surrounded the entire Milky Way galaxy's most powerful forbidden areas and the most powerful star regions. After almost a month, they finally arrived at Blue Dome Forbidden Land. No wonder this beginner supreme forbidden land was called Blue Dome. Looking from afar in the Hongmeng void, this starry sky forbidden land was affected by some shining stars in the Milky Way galaxy. The surface of this starry sky forbidden land seemed to be covered with a layer of faint green light. It was extremely eye-catching against the backdrop of the pitch-black primordial chaos void. Maybe this was why the Blue Dome Forbidden Land was outside. There was a reason why the Old Pig spirit had chosen the blue sky forbidden area as his next target. It was all for the sake of safety. Chapter 4458. Xiao! Xiao! 2 faint air-piercing sounds could be heard as 2 streaks of light shot into the blue sky forbidden land. The people who had arrived were Yi Xian and the Old Pig spirit, who were in the violent starry sky ape state. Both of them had activated the bloodline ability within their bodies. Their figures were 30 meters tall, and the aura that emanated from their bodies was at the 2nd level of the Universe Knight realm. The two universe knights came together, and they didn't intend to hide their power at all. They even showed a hint of fierceness. Obviously, they didn't come with good intentions. Instantly, they alarmed the beasts in the green sky Forbidden Land. Countless beasts from the Forbidden Land rushed out of the atmosphere and floated in the void space, eyeing the intruders covetously. Even though some of them hadn't even reached the ordinary undying level, and were only at the universe grade, they didn't show any fear. Although the two universe knights were powerful, even the weaker one of the two universe knights guarding the blue sky Forbidden Land was at the 4th level of the Venerable Realm, so they could easily suppress the two universe knights. Raging Ape Porcupine, what do you want? This is the green sky Forbidden Land, not your territory. Leave now. Otherwise we'll kill you all. Soon 2 deep roars could be heard from the 2 giant ferocious beast stars in the distance. These 2 giant stars were located in the deepest part of the green sky Forbidden Land, one on the left and one on the right. Obviously, they were the lairs of the 2 night realm beasts. As the 2 deep roars came out, 2 streaks of light shot out of the 2 giant stars and stopped abruptly in the void space of the universe tens of billions of miles away. The powerful force of the night realm spread out immediately. It was extremely powerful. On the left of the void space was a hell 2-headed hound. It was millions of feet tall, and the power it exuded was at the 4th level of the night realm. It had just entered the middle stage of the night realm. On the right of the void space was a green Luan. However, there were some colorful feathers on its body, which showed that its bloodline wasn't pure. It wasn't a purebred ferocious bird green Luan. This green phoenix's cultivation wasn't weak, and it was at the 8th rank of the Exalt realm. It was at the advanced stage of the Exalt realm, and it was even stronger than the gray rock that Yi Xian had encountered earlier. You guys should be the ones to scram. You guys don't know the meaning of death. 9 transformations of the demonic pig. 3rd transformation. The old pig spirit did not hesitate in the slightest when faced with the rude words of the 2 venerable ferocious beasts. He immediately roared furiously, and entered the 3rd transformation of the demonic pig's 9 transformations. His body instantly expanded, and in the blink of an eye, he grew from 100 feet tall to 100,000 feet tall. Compared to the 2 universe knights in front of him, who were both 30 million feet tall, Old Pig Spirit's body was indeed very inconspicuous. However, because of this, Old Pig Spirit's cultivation level skyrocketed by 3 small levels. In the blink of an eye, he had already reached Universe Knight level 5. Rank. A moment ago, he just entered the Exalt realm, yet now in the blink of an eye, he'd attained the intermediate stage of the Exalt realm. This scene was simply like a dream, and the countless ferocious beasts in the surroundings were dumbstruck on the spot. However, the real shock had yet to come, and it was coming immediately. Roar. Demonic Pig's 9 transformations. 8th transformation. Pung. The moment the old pig spirit's roar fell, Yi Xian's roar came from the mouth of the space raging ape. As his voice rang out, a huge explosion was heard. In less than a breath's time, the space raging ape's body had completely expanded, and its speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. At this moment, the power in the raging ape's body was rolling like a roaring river, and its limbs and bones were surging with endless ferocity. Unknowingly, there was an unimaginably majestic and terrifying aura that made people look askance. In half a breath's time, the raging ape's body, which was originally only 30 feet tall, expanded at an extremely fast speed. At a speed that was visible to the naked eye, it reached a height of 1 billion feet, which was equivalent to 6 million miles. It had surpassed a giant star. At the same time, the aura of the raging ape's cultivation level rose at the same time. It went from a 2nd-level venerable to a 1st-level universe master. All of this happened too quickly. In the blink of an eye, the 2 2nd-level venerables who had crossed the boundary to invade the Forbidden Land transformed into a 5th-level venerable, and an even more terrifying universe master. This was simply a nightmare. The entire vast blue sky Forbidden Land fell into a complete silence in an instant. All the ferocious beasts in the Forbidden Land were crouching in the void space, trembling slightly. As far as the eye could see, the only ones still standing were the 2 universe knights, mixed fur green Luan and double-headed hellhound, billions of miles ahead, as well as the 8 undying emperors in the distance who were waiting in the surroundings. In fact, although the 8 emperors were far away, They were still crouching in the void space at this moment. Obviously, they were quite frightened, and their entire bodies were trembling slightly. Facing a universe master, the so-called power of an emperor became a joke in an instant. As for the double-headed hellhound and the mixed-fur green Luan, after being stunned for half a breath's time, their expressions changed drastically, and they cried out involuntarily. A universe master? This is impossible. I've never heard of the existence of a raging ape in the nearby intermediate supreme forbidden lands, even on the other side of the Milky Way, far away. This is not your true power. You just executed some kind of talent that can increase your cultivation level in an instant. You think you can do whatever you want in my blue sky forbidden land with just this? After finishing the last sentence, the hot-tempered double-headed hellhound immediately raised his head and let out a furious roar. If that's the case, I'd like to see how strong your cultivation level of a universe master that you got out of nowhere is and how long it can last. Oh, although you guessed correctly, even if it's just a cultivation level that I got out of nowhere, it's still enough to kill you. Hong! Along with the disdainful and sarcastic voice, the raging ape rushed out with a shake of its shoulders. In the blink of an eye, it was already beside the double-headed hellhound, and it suddenly struck out a punch. In the void space, a huge roar was heard. Not far away, the double-headed hellhound howled in grief, and his huge body suddenly exploded. With his cultivation level of a universe master, he was like an ant facing a universe master, and there was no chance for him to react. He didn't even have time to react before he was blasted apart by one punch. In an instant, its gigantic body exploded into a cloud of blood mist that spread out in all directions. Shio! After withdrawing its punch, the raging ape immediately waved its hand. A sharp sound broke through the air, and an incomparably majestic and invisible force rolled out from the raging ape's body, covering a radius of tens of millions of miles and sweeping away the red blood mist that had just spread out. And then, after absorbing it into its body, it immediately sent it into the Shun-known cauldron to start the blood essence condensation. Chapter 4459. Screech! In the blink of an eye, the two-headed hellhound was killed. Its entire body exploded and turned into a bloody mist that was taken away by the raging star ape. When this scene fell into the mixed-fur green phoenix's eyes, it instantly made its eyes pop out of their sockets, and an extremely strong sense of danger surged into its heart. After raising its head and letting out a fierce roar, this eighth-order venerable green phoenix did not hesitate at all. Its body shook and it directly turned around and fled. Previously, it was like the two-headed hellhound that had already been killed. It thought that the power of a universe master that the raging star ape had obtained through some kind of bloodline ability would definitely not be able to last long, and it was even very likely that it was just a facade. However, with the bad-tempered two-headed hellhound around, there was no need for it to test at all. Otherwise, the mixed-fur green phoenix would have already attacked. But now, as the two-headed hellhound was killed in one blow, the mixed-fur green phoenix finally realized the seriousness of the problem. The cultivation strength of a universe master that the other party possessed was not just a facade, and it was even very likely that it would not disappear in a short period of time. Loss. If not, how could this raging star ape be so confident and kill the two-headed hellhound with one punch without any hesitation? In the face of a true universe master, even if it was an eighth-order venerable, it was completely not enough. It was almost no different from an ant. At most, it could be considered an ant that had the ability to escape, and there was more or less a chance of success. The mixed-fur green phoenix knew that the situation was critical, and its vitality was fleeting. At this moment, it turned around and fled with a fierce roar. The power in its body had already been pushed to the limit. With just a flap of its wings with all its strength, its body was already more than 100 million miles away. 100 million miles in a flap of its wings was absolutely terrifying. Some of the abandoned stars along the way were shattered into pieces by the invisible impact force produced by this extreme speed. Such a scene had long dumbfounded Old Pig. Although he had the combat strength of a fifth-order venerable now, and he was only 3 small levels away from this mixed-fur green phoenix. However, at the high level of the venerable realm, the final effect of even a small level difference in cultivation was extremely shocking, let alone a difference of 3 small levels. Moreover, he was not a ferocious bird and was not good at speed. Perhaps even if his cultivation strength had reached the 8th order venerable realm like the mixed fur green phoenix, he would not be able to travel 100 million miles away in an instant. However, this was only the case for Old Pig, but it was not the case for Yi Xian at all. With the support of the powerful strength of a first-order universe master, the current Yi Xian's control of the void teleportation power had already reached a terrifying level. Xiu! With just a thought, his figure had already appeared in front of the mixed fur green phoenix. The distance of the teleportation was about the same as the distance of the mixed fur green phoenix's wings, and the time spent in it was completely negligible. You're a bully. The mixed feathers green Luan was furious. Its figure that was originally shooting out came to an abrupt stop in the void. Immediately after, before the voice of its divine sense could be heard, the mixed feathers green Luan had already turned around and rushed in another direction. Boom! Almost at the same time, the raging star ape's shoulders shook and rushed out. In the blink of an eye, it was already beside the two-headed hellhound and suddenly threw a punch. In the void a huge roar sounded. The mixed fur green phoenix, which had just escaped not far away, let out a wail, and its huge body exploded with a bang. It did not have the chance to react at all and was already blown apart by the punch. In an instant, its gigantic body exploded into a cloud of blood mist that spread out in all directions. Xiu! Retracting his punch, the raging star ape habitually wanted to absorb the majestic qi and blood that had spread out into his body, but he quickly realized that something was wrong because there was clearly a figure in the void in front of him that was moving at an extremely fast speed. It was the mixed fur green phoenix that should have been blown apart by Yi Xian's punch. It was also at this moment that the majestic blood mist that was spreading out in front of him completely disappeared in half a blink of an eye, as if it had never appeared at all. This scene surprised Yi Xian greatly. Looking over, he quickly realized that something was wrong. At this moment, the two mixed fur green phoenixes, who had already fled more than 200 million miles away with a flap of their wings, were clearly missing one of the mixed fur feathers on their foreheads. This was absolutely correct. With Yi Xian's powerful divine sense as the master of the universe, he could clearly distinguish it. A mixed fur feather for death? It actually has the effect and power of an illusion. He instantly understood in his heart. There was no doubt that the reason why the punch just now had such an effect was related to the mixed fur on the head of the mixed fur green phoenix. To him, he had actually died once just now, but his original body was not injured. The missing mixed fur feather on his head helped him block the disaster. Moreover, after Yi Xian threw a punch, he clearly saw the body of the mixed fur green phoenix explode into a cloud of blood mist that spread out. At the same time that this strand of mixed feathers helped him block the calamity, it even created some sort of illusion that affected Yi Xian. In order to compete, it gave the Azure Luan 2 instantaneous chances to escape. And now, after flapping its wings twice in a row, its body had already traveled more than 200 million miles away, and the distance between itself and Yi Xian had doubled. Yi Xian had never encountered such a situation before, so this time, he suddenly discovered the abnormality, which instead aroused his interest. This is a bit interesting, but if it's just like this, you still won't be able to escape today. The divine sense voice transmitted, and without hesitation, Yi Xian activated his body again and teleported away directly. This time it was still so short that it was almost negligible, and the gigantic body of the raging star ape, which was 6 million miles long, disappeared from where it was in an instant. When it reappeared, it happened to block the way of the mixed fur green phoenix. 200 million miles was still a distance that the raging star ape, who had the power of a first-level universe master, could easily cross with one teleportation. Li. Seeing this scene, despair flashed across the eyes of the mixed fur green phoenix. It raised its head and roared fiercely, and its voice was filled with strong unwillingness. Raging star ape, don't force me. At most, we'll die together. Although universe masters are strong enough, I'm still an 8th level universe master after all. No matter how big the gap is between you and me, if I recklessly self-destruct, even if I can't take you down with me, I can at least hurt you a little. Let me go. You're thinking too much. That's absolutely impossible. How can I, as a star master, let an 8th level universe master's blood essence slip through my fingers just like that? Chapter 4460. Bao Yuan, you're the one who forced me to do this. Since you're not willing to let go, I'm going to die anyway. I definitely won't let you have an easy time. Ruthless. Seeing Bao Yuan directly refuse and sneer at the corner of his mouth, he immediately threw a punch at himself. The mixed-haired green Luan was completely desperate. An incomparably crazy bloody light shot out from its eyes. After raising its head and letting out a ruthless roar, its body reached millions of miles. Its huge body instantly exploded. Bang! Rumble! An earth-shattering explosion was heard, followed by the sound of rolling thunder in the void like a chain reaction. After all, it was a late-stage knight of the 8th stage. Its cultivation was too powerful. At this moment, it was burning its boats in anger and self-destructing without care. The moment its body exploded, the destructive power was simply shocking. Even Yi Xian felt an incomparably fierce wind blowing against his face at this moment. His body felt as if he was standing in front of a violent hurricane, facing the fierce wind, and his skin felt a little tingling. The mixed-haired green Luan's words were not a bluff, nor were they false. As a late-stage knight of the 8th stage, if he self-destructed without care, although he could not pose a great threat to Yi Xian, who had the strength of a first-stage universe master, it would still cause some damage. However, it was still enough to do it. In fact, Yi Xian felt this way now. A tingling sensation came from his skin. But that was all. He did not pay attention to it. Instead, he waved his hand at the first moment. Xiu! As Bao Yuan waved his hand, a sharp sound of breaking through the air resounded. An incomparably majestic invisible force swept out from Bao Yuan's body and enveloped a radius of millions of miles. It was spreading rapidly from the explosion of the mixed-haired green Luan in the void. This moment, Yi Xian was actually on guard. He was worried that it would be a trick of the mixed-haired green Luan like last time. After all, he had more than one mixed-haired feather on his head. If each feather had the power to substitute for death and attract illusions, then this scene in front of him, it was very likely that this scene was still fake. But very quickly, Yi Xian's heart, which had been in his throat, calmed down. This was because this time, the boundless blood mist that spread out in front of him wasn't like last time. It wasn't swept away by the invisible force that Yi Xian released with a wave of his hand, causing it to instantly vanish into thin air. This time, all of the blood mist was swept back by Yi Xian with a wave of his hand and absorbed into his body at the first possible moment. It felt incredibly real. It seemed that the mixed-feathered green Luan was truly in despair and had given up struggling. As this thought flashed through his mind, Yi Xian immediately let out a sigh of relief. This mixed-feather blue Luan was really not easy to deal with. Not only did it have the mixed feathers of death substitution, it could also control illusions. It was really a little tricky. Roar! Brother Bao Yuan, he ran to the right. Right at this moment, in the distant void hundreds of millions of miles behind him, the old pig spirit's roar came, and the words he roared immediately made Yi Xian stunned. At this moment, Yi Xian's mind suddenly became clear, and a weak sense of emptiness suddenly came from his body. The majestic qi and blood that he had swept away and absorbed into his body just now had actually disappeared. This feeling was too strange. Even though he had already experienced it before, Yi Xian was still stunned for a moment. Then, he subconsciously turned his head to the right and looked in the direction that the old pig spirit had reminded him of. At this time, the illusionary power that had confused him had obviously disappeared. At the end of the void on the right side of his line of sight, the mixed-feathered green Luan was escaping at an extremely fast speed. In a few flaps of its wings, it was already 600 to 700 million miles away, to be precise. He could no longer be called a mixed-feathered green Luan. Perhaps it would be more appropriate to call him a bald green Luan. Obviously, the so-called self-destruction just now was just a trick of the mixed-feathered green Luan. This time he was also playing tricks, and in order to buy more time to escape, he even used up all of the mixed feathers on his head in one go. Used up. One had to know that he originally had dozens of these different colored feathers on his head. When he first fled, he had used up one of them. Now it seemed that these mixed feathers were all the same. They all had the power to block death and the power to trigger illusions. They were definitely bloodline treasures. However, the mixed-feathered green Luan obviously knew that he only had this one chance. If he failed again, the violent ape would not be fooled again. Therefore, this time, in order to ensure the effect, He actually gritted his teeth and used up all of the mixed feathers on his head. This was definitely a real desperate attempt. His temperament was indeed extraordinary. In fact, he was almost successful. Just now, he had already escaped 600 to 700 million miles away. In fact, if the old pig spirit in the distance did not stay out of it, he would not be like Yi Xian, who had dozens of mixed feathers exploded at the same time. The illusionary power could affect him. Not only did he clearly see the entire process, he even let out a wild roar at the most critical moment to warn Yi Xian, jolting him awake from his state of mind that was still trapped in the illusion. Then, as long as he was given another 5 to 6 breaths of time, the mixed-feathered green Luan would definitely be able to escape nearly 2 billion miles away. If that was the case, he might really be able to escape successfully today. Unfortunately, there were no ifs in reality. Since Yi Xian had seen through the trick of the mixed-feathered green Luan, then he was destined to die today. Whoosh! A faint sound of breaking through the air sounded. Yi Xian's figure was already 300 million miles away in the blink of an eye. Without any hesitation, the second teleportation was immediately carried out, and then the third teleportation in less than a breath. The distance of 600 to 700 million miles that the mixed-feathered green Luan had tried its best to open was shortened again in an instant. At this time, the distance between him and Yi Xian was only more than 20 million miles. This kind of distance was only a distance of 3 bodies for the violent starry sky ape, which was 6 million miles long. It was completely within the range of close combat. Bald old hair, this time you are finished. I don't believe that apart from the dozens of mixed feathers on your head, the green feathers on your body have the same power and effect. If you don't, you can go die now. Boom! As the disdainful and mocking voice of the violent starry sky ape came out, the next moment, the violent starry sky ape suddenly punched out, a deafening roar sounded. The mixed-feathered green Luan not far away howled, and its huge body exploded with a bang. In the blink of an eye, its gigantic body completely exploded into a cloud of blood mist and spread out. Without a doubt, there would definitely be no more accidents this time, because the old pig spirit in the distance behind had already raised his head and let out an extremely excited cry. Oh, brother violent ape, this is the 6th one, right? It seemed that this old guy had been counting for Yi Xian. Chapter 4461. With the death of the mixed fur green Luan, Yi Xian had a total of 6 pieces of venerable blood essence. Half of the 6 pieces of venerable blood essence were condensed from the blood essence left behind by a late-stage venerable after his physical body exploded, so they were of excellent quality. Therefore, even if he only used the 6 pieces of venerable blood essence, Yi Xian was more than 60% confident that he could produce 3 level 26 treasure pills. After all, the Shenong unusual flame in the Shenong cauldron was much more powerful than before. It had evolved into a 9-colored flame, and its power had reached its peak. However, 3 pieces were not enough to satisfy him. Therefore, Yi Xian did not plan to produce the pills now. According to his plan, he had to collect at least 9 pieces of venerable blood essence before he could produce the level 26 treasure pills to maximize the benefits. Of course, it would be better if he could get more. Although the mixed fur green Luan had been killed, there were still 8 powerful emperor-level ferocious beasts in the green sky forbidden land. These were 8 pieces of emperor-level blood essence, and he could not waste them. However, Yi Xian did not plan to make any more moves. Unknowingly, even emperor-level existences were like ants to him now. As these thoughts flashed through his mind, Yi Xian could not help but be absent-minded. In addition to the feelings brought by the mixed fur green Luan's bloodline secret technique, at this moment, it was as if he had an epiphany. His state of mind was instantly upgraded, and he became more determined. This is a pleasant surprise. It seems that the battle with the mixed fur green Luan is very meaningful. In his joy, Yi Xian turned to look at Old Pig and ordered, "I'll leave the 8 emperor-level undying beasts and their cave lairs to you. As for me, I'll go search the lairs of the 2-headed hellhound and the mixed fur green Luan. Then, I'll take advantage of the unexpected breakthrough in my state of mind to start a seclusion breakthrough in the mixed fur green Luan's lairs." "Jie? Breakthrough again?" Hearing this, Old Pig was shocked. He stared at Yi Xian dumbfounded. After confirming that he was not joking, he pouted and muttered, "How long has it been since you broke through? To think that he would come back so soon. What a pervert." While muttering to himself, The old pig demon's figure had already shot off into the distance. After a short while, rumbling sounds of thunder could be heard from that direction. It was obvious that the slaughter had already begun. Although there were 8 surviving titled emperors in the blue sky Forbidden Land, Old Pig had the fighting strength of a 5th-level knight. Even if it was 1 against 8, he would be able to crush them. Yi Xian didn't have to worry at all. Swish! With a flash of his figure, he directly rushed into the lair of the 2-headed hellhound. After plundering it, he immediately rushed to the lair of the mixed feather green Luan. In just 4 hours this time Yi Xian obtained a huge amount of top-notch cultivation resources. After all, these 2 were universe knights, and they had too many good things in their hands. Especially the mixed feather green Luan, whose strength had reached the 8th-level knight, was stronger than the blood-eyed gray rock that Yi Xian had encountered previously. It was definitely the one that Yi Xian had encountered before. It was the most powerful opponent that Yi Xian had ever encountered. Naturally, one could imagine the treasures in the cave dwelling of such a powerful being. After plundering everything, Yi Xian didn't leave the lair of the mixed feather green Luan. Instead, he waved his hand and took out the farmer god cauldron in a valley. After that, with a flash of his figure, he returned to his 30-meter-tall raging ape form and stepped into the dense fog. At the mouth of the farmer god cauldron, which was shrouded in 9-colored fog, he sat down cross-legged. Swish, swish, swish. The next moment, one after another, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. They were all the cultivation resources that Yi Xian took out from the undying world in his body, including a 9-colored ball with a diameter of 1,000 meters. Inside the ball were 9-colored godly medicines. After that, he took out a large amount of other cultivation resources, such as the 10 drops of all evil origin liquid. After doing all this, Yi Xian activated the power of the domain of the farmer god cauldron, and compressed all the cultivation resources to the size of an infant's fist. With a wave of his hand, he swallowed them into his stomach. At this moment, a new round of breakthroughs began in full swing. Walala! Within his body, the sound of shackles covering the sky and covering the earth resounded. This time there was only one shackle that appeared within his body. He was already familiar with the following process. He urged the great river of energy that had just formed within his body, spreading it throughout his body's 100 meridians. He opened the great circulatory system again and again, accumulating energy. Finally, when all the energy had been refined, the shackle broke with just one impact. As this extremely thick shackle was finally completely broken, the system notification that he had been anticipating soon rang out in Yi Xian's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for a breakthrough in the realm of the ancient cave void technique. Current realm. Level 2 Universe Knight. Ding! Congratulations to the host for a breakthrough in the realm of the physical body's blood vitality. Current realm. Level 2 Universe Knight. With this breakthrough, Yi Xian's combat power rose again. Before this, his original body's cultivation level was only at level 1 Universe Knight. Once he activated the bloodline power of the ancient demon ape in his body, he could instantly rise to level 2 Universe Knight. If he used the 9 changes of the demon ape again and reached the 9th transformation, his combat power would immediately soar to level 2 Universe Master. And now, after activating the bloodline power of the ancient demon ape in his body, Yi Xian would instantly possess the power of a level 3 Universe Knight. If he used the bloodline power of the 9 changes of the demon ape again and directly entered the 9th transformation, his peak combat power would be equivalent to level 3 Universe Master. This was already the peak of the initial stage of this realm. One more step and he would be able to step into the middle stage of the Universe Master level. Level 2 Universe Knight. There are still 7 small levels of breakthrough before I reach the pinnacle of this realm. Yi Xian opened his eyes, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. He murmured softly, "During this period of time, I have to collect as much blood essence of the Universe Knights as possible. Then when I reach level 8 Universe Knight, I will use the level 26 treasure pill to refine. After that, when I reach the pinnacle of this realm, I will consume another level 26 treasure pill to successfully push my power to the Universe Master level. Then when I use the bloodline power of the 9 changes of the demon ape, and activate it to the 9th transformation, I will be able to unleash the power of the 9 changes of the demon ape. When I reach the 9th transformation, I will instantly possess the terrifying combat power of a universe supreme. The ferocious mosquito forbidden area that Schwebin went to as a senior, supreme forbidden area guarded by a universe supreme. When I have the combat power of a universe supreme, only then will I be qualified to explore that ferocious mosquito forbidden area. Now it seems that day is not far away. It's only 7 small levels of breakthrough,